Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Morning.
Welcome. How are we? Welcome to this stream. David.
Yes, welcome to the. I got you. Welcome to the Heroes of Histaeria Unearthed Inheritance campaign right here on CommuneDM's wonderful Twitch channel. My name is David. I go by ZenOkami in various places on the internet. You can find me probably really doing trash in some Overwatch 2 games nowadays. Other than that, no socials yet, but it's one of the things we are going to work on in hiatus. Speaking of hiatus, so you guys know, Heroes of Histaeria, this campaign will be off for the month of December, so you won't be able to catch us here, but we will be back in January. At least that's the plan. If you like what you're seeing here, do feel free to check out our other campaign, Heroes of Histaeria Sandsea Saga, over on the Delta Cryptid YouTube channel. Right? Okay, and I throw it. I'm going to go throw it to Button. Bing.
Ooh. Hello, my name is Button. My pronouns are they, them. I am Bluebluebutton on the social medias. You can find me here playing this game, and you can find me here in the evenings on Known Realms Tolesh, although that won't be the case for the next 2 weeks, because holidays and stuff. Alec.
I'm sad. Hi, everybody. My name is Alec. My pronouns are he, him. You can find me all places on the internet at CommuneDM. Yes, I am a player here. I play Finn Reese every other Sunday on Heroes of Histaeria Unearthed Inheritance. We are going to be off. As David said, we're taking a hiatus. The month of December. We're really a vision this morning. So we will be back in the new year with new sessions of Unearthed Inheritance. And as Button said, Known Realms Tolesh is taking a bit of an unexpected holiday Thanksgiving break because times be busy and as do people. So we will be back on December 4th for session 6 of Known Realms Tolesh. Stuff's going to happen. Guys, socials are the best way to stay in contact with us and see what we're doing and when we are doing it. We've actually been cooking up some really fun stuff in the Commune production server that we're going to get started in the new year. Do we give a little tease? Tease it. We have a Call of Cthulhu anthology series in the works called Chronicles of Cthulhu, where we will bring in different keepers, different players for assorted one-shots that could develop into few shots. So look out for that. We got some exciting people already involved, and we're excited to get the ball rolling on that. YouTube is up to date. I am putting session 4 of these sessions up this week, so you guys are gonna see that there. And then merch. Sure, yeah, merch. Go get merch. People have gotten shirts. They're good shirts. But am I missing anything? Discord. We have a community Discord. If you want to come hang out, talk about the shows, meet some fun nerds, and go and do amazing things.
Do it.
Do it. And I throw the ball back to David.
Yo, all right, thank you. Sorry, I was looking at my mic. I couldn't remember which one was which color was mute and which one color wasn't. I was like,
you look like I asked you for an answer for a test question, and you were mad for me. You're like, me?
Part of it was I was waiting to see if I'd pick up my voice because I was like, test. Okay. All right. Well, guys, shall we get started?
Please.
Okay. So,
it is May 24th, and we are in a problem place.
Man has yellow eyes.
The man with the yellow eyes. So, at our most recent adventure, it began in camp as Cress glimpsed the dreams of the mountain. This process, while cryptic and confusing at times, made one thing clear to you, and that is that the land of the Ironwood is in a state of fear and anger. As fear gripped the mountain, twisting its dreams into a nightmare, Cress channeled the power of a prayer of hope to repel this fear. In that golden light, you saw the shambling mummer show of animal skins begin to bulk backwards, and using your keen senses to peer into the depths of their hollowed eyes, you saw a pair of shining yellow eyes staring back. The next day, our journey resumed. Your twilight ascent of the east wing of the Griffin continued. This journey saw you all heroically navigate an earthquake and avoid being trampled by a stampeding herd of iron-horn elk led by a metallic heart of bronze. You followed a broken path to your destination, the Sanctum Metallica, home to an order of dragonborn monks and the training grounds of the Ironborn Rangers. Here, in this giant's fortress turned monastery, you delivered 2 Ironborn Rangers and their fallen comrade. In recognition of the continued services provided to this tight-knit order, our very own Finn Reese was informally inducted. Finn was given a weapon to symbolize the appreciation and recognition of the Ironborn Rangers, an axe crafted in the very halls within which you now find yourselves. And after unearthing, roll credits, some uncomfortable knowledge about the 1,000-year wars between the giants and the dragons, you made your way to the dining hall for a well-deserved meal. You had just entered the hall, this cavernous space furnished with 4 long ironwood long tables. As several monks and clerics set about the habits of dining, you were greeted by the cheery welcome of a yellow-eyed hobgoblin. And my friends, that is where we left off, and that is where we will pick up as you step in and this hobgoblin turns to greet you. Ah, welcome. It's been a while since we've had any visitors.
Yes, hi there. Any other yellow eye? The same yellow eyes that I recognized from the mountain's dream. Do I see any others throughout the space? They immediately
Start kind of clocking and
clock the
checking.
room.
Sure. Roll an investigation.
Oh,
Out of the gate?
Are you fucking kidding me?
I believe you.
I don't know where my camera is. That 20.
Natural 20!
Natural 20. Now we're starting the session right. Okay.
Whoa.
I will say, looking around the room, there are various races, right? There are, again, clerics, monks, and even a couple of Ironborn Rangers, Within the room, this individual, this hobgoblin, is the only one with these yellow eyes. But I will say, with a natural 20, one of the things that you can easily pick up is the shape of the eyes. Definitely seems consistent with those that you caught a glimpse of.
Okay.
Wearing those animal skins.
Okay. What's your name? I'm Cress.
Nice to meet you, Cress. My name is Wrath.
It's a bit on the nose there, eh, David?
Great.
a bit on the nose there, eh, David? His name is what?
Oh boy.
Hello?
Don't let my intimidating moniker fool you. I am but a humble servant here.
Insight check.
Please do.
Okay.
What a fitting.
That's bad. Insight. 14.
Not terrible.
I rolled a 9.
Seems legitimate. As he's got a very easy demeanor about him. Curious that at your arrival and who you are, as he kind of takes you in, sea elf, Goliath, golden dragon. You certainly are an eclectic group that warrants his attention and his scrutiny. As he's kind of examining you all as well. You pick that up at least. But no sense of sinister intentions, at least at the moment or anything.
Okay.
You appear to be travelers. You can imagine we don't get very many these days.
I suppose that's a little heartbreaking. You'd hope that people would band together.
One would hope indeed. But our monastery has always been rather far removed and somewhat reclusive. Although we did recently have an influx of some Minotaur refugees, the Asturian tribe, or I suppose the correct term for their unit is an empire, as they refer to themselves. They are just outside, but outside of the odd ranger on patrol, very happy that you've made it here. Come, you look famished, I imagine. Sit. Let me provide anything you should desire.
That is mighty generous. I imagine Finn can feel Cress's discomfort.
I was just gonna say, I think he's like, the mighty fuck is going on here internally.
They'll sit.
Okay. Yeah, you find a spot kind of at the end of one of these long ironwood tables, right? There are a couple of benches, right? But this is a very large space, hundreds of feet long. You can imagine, again, this was once housed giants. And the furniture now inside and the fittings on the walls definitely seem minuscule compared to the actual features of the space. As you sit, Wrath stands at your side and goes, well, I'm afraid I don't have very much to offer, but I would be happy to provide any meals if you'd like. Or perhaps you just want some space after your long journey.
I don't want to take your resources. I have some rations. We could feed you.
Taken aback. That's very generous of you. It's true. Times are difficult for us. What rangers still reside and train here? Although a lot of the training is currently on hold, given the situation. We've had to send out some green branches early. But we are certainly appreciative of any sort of assistance you can. It's a little backwards. You come to our home and assist and aid us.
They'll pull out their version of like lemmus bread,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
hand it to both Finn and Wrath. Can you tell me, what's your role here? Are you a priest?
I was inducted to the order some years ago, yes. I hail from Muldan Ordan originally, but I was granted welcome by Zenku Krivkal. And since then, now I am fortunate enough to call the Sanctum home.
Insight check. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. No, it's okay.
18.
An 18 still appears genuine. It doesn't seem like there's any sort of deception at play.
So they don't get the vibe that this man is like a spy from Muldan Ordan.
No. Nothing like that. He seems genuine. He seems like he is genuinely grateful for being here. And he certainly has an air of comfort in this place. You know, he's very much at ease. Like he seems like he's home.
Yeah. I think Cress isn't a stranger to feeling like a hazard in a space for no other reason than the fact that they exist. So I think looking at Wrath and parsing the fact that the mountain seems to fear Wrath. There's this desire to give the benefit of the doubt, and they just kind of quietly eat, lost in thought, reflect. They'll listen to anything that the other two might have to say, but I think they just get quiet.
What was it? Sorry, you cut out a little bit.
Sorry, I thought you inhaled like you were about to say something.
I think. Can I make an insight check to just kind of gather the air of my sea elf companion?
Yeah, up to Cress. It's how obvious that might be.
14.
I'd say that's high enough to clock uncertainty, discomfort.
Just a pat on their back as you sort of, well, we appreciate the hospitality, but I think it makes sense not to keep you for too long. But I imagine we'd like to check in later. He sort of looks at Cress for a bit of assurance there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. I think we're tired from our journey and just need to kind of collect our bearings.
Cress, Wrath is also going to attempt an insight check.
Okay. Fuck you.
That's a 19 on the roll.
Yeah, I rolled in that one for deception.
Can I ooh, is there any way I can assist with deception by trying to look more tired and like shitty?
Because we got the nat 1
That
result
makes
already.
sense. That makes sense.
Sorry.
No, don't apologize.
I will say there's no hostility toward Wrath. They're just confused, concerned.
Sure. And
also parsing that these might not be fair responses given what they're reading from him.
Sure. And Wrath looks curiously at you. Says, "You seem perplexed. Is everything all right?"
Yeah. I think I just had a weird dream and I'm parsing that, so I'm sorry if I seem
Not at all. Given the nature of the world, I'm just hoping to aid those on their journey, as any of my fraternity would.
David, if I'm remembering correctly, Elda sent which giants back into the earth? One sec. I've got this. I know things.
I know you do.
Elda sent the invading giants into the depths of the mountain, correct? The fire giants, who are connected to the pantheon of Oros.
Yes, there is a fire giant amongst that order. Yes.
So the mountain,
not a deity, but a herald of
a herald. The fiery herald resides within the mountain, and fissures were closed upon his ceiling.
Correct.
And the mountain now fears this yellow-eyed individual who is a member of the pantheon of Oros.
A
follower,
cleric, a follower, yes, a follower of the pantheon of Oros. To kind of clarify the image that you saw, that your prayer banished, it wasn't like it was like, these shambling animal skins, right? The skins of boars, bears, wolves, right? Very much not living, right? As it looks like it was just the skins hanging over something wearing them. And as the light kind of shone and they bulked back, you were able to kind of see into like the hollowed darkness of the sockets, and you saw a pair of yellow eyes, but it was multiple creatures.
So I get the sense that some sort of unholy animation may have occurred.
Possible.
Maybe.
Or something. But Wrath, or something else, but Wrath looks at the pair of you and says, "Well, it is clear your journey was trying. No stranger to, we too feel things like the earthquakes. The rust monsters have been terribly active of late, so I can only imagine what it's like beyond the walls of the Sanctum. I can't imagine what it's like beyond the walls of the Sanctum, as I've enjoyed the safety here. And I hope to pass that on to you. I'm sure the Zenku welcome your visitation. But just so you know, if it wasn't already explained to you, we do have a couple of places, unfortunately, here in the Sanctum that are off limits to guests at the moment. Specifically, there is a mine shaft that leads into the mountain. It is currently sealed due to the rust monsters.
Can I insight check that?
Absolutely.
Natural 20.
Wow.
Hang on to that. He also says, in addition to that, the library is also currently unavailable. The rust monsters, when they broke in, it seems they destroyed much of the bookshelves, which were also made of ironwood, and it is something of a mess and in complete disarray. Our librarians are working to recatalog and reshelve everything and really get it in a much more working order soon. But aside from those areas, you feel free to explore the priest's quarters. It's a good place to find bedding and rest should you require it. Now, with your natural 20, Finn, at the mention, Wrath speaks with an easy demeanor. But as he kind of goes through, the areas that are off limits, you can see with your 20, you don't pick up an insight on him, but the other clergymen around, the other clerics and the other clerics and monks who are in this space as well, start to eavesdrop. And you see a couple of them slowly just watch this. Now they're clocking this conversation, and they seem careful. There's a hesitancy, almost like they're observing, almost like they're waiting for Wrath to maybe say something wrong. With your 20, you can easily see they're possibly waiting to see if they might have to interject should Wrath possibly reveal something that he's not supposed to. There's a caginess about them.
That is noted.
Wrath looks you all over and says, "Well, thank you for the meal. I will be sure to at least bring by some drinks for you. Refreshments. Is water okay?"
Very much so, thank you.
"Thank you." And kind of recedes back towards the other side of the room. There's a small doorway. A small relative, right? There's a doorway, but a single doorway. Wrath passes through, and you, Cress, with your passive perception and stuff, you get kind of like a whiff of, maybe things being cooked, fires beyond there. Seems like it's probably the kitchen. But yes, so it is the two of you and Cuthbert. As Cuthbert, as well, with your excellent insight checks, Cuthbert continues to be a little wary as well, and especially sensing the two of you, especially sensing Cress kind of going on alert.
Mm-hmm.
Cuthbert has gone to being a lot more vigilant, and kind of you see these emerald eyes scanning the room, collecting the faces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Three of you sit at this long table. At the end, you have a section to yourself. The nearest people to you are probably about 15, 20 feet away.
Yeah, they're not gonna... Oh.
No, I was just saying, after Wrath kind of leaves, they kind of go back to being more at ease, more relaxed.
Great. All right. So did you want to talk to the Sanctum Metallica's leader about that pillar before we headed out?
Definitely apparent that he's a bit off-put. Probably following suit with Cuthbert, just a little vigilant. Kind of looking at the space. I think a conversation could be good, but climate up here this high up is just a little strange, don't you think?
Yeah, it's a little chilly.
A little bit. All right.
I didn't know you guys spoke thieves' cant.
What are you looking to accomplish here?
Well, I might take the time to craft a few potions.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can sleep in the night air this high.
I was going to say the same thing. I should probably just rest up as easily as possible and then make our way. I'll check out the pillar and... Hey, you can tell the rust monsters have been chewing away. The breeze is just bitter. I can sit with you for a bit, if you'd like.
No, it's fine. I know you have to have conversations, and I know we want to visit the Histaeria Empire. Dislocated Empire. Before we head to Dammaril.
I'll be swift. And I begins to stand up. Definitely just hand on their shoulder, just a reaffirming grab. He walks up toward Cuthbert and just sort of looks him in the eyes. You're a good boy. May I pet? Or pat? Respectfully.
The eyes kind of blink, slowly close, and kind of rests the nose into your hand, into
He
the
just
palm of your
just
hand.
pats his head, and Finn does like drop his forehead onto Cuthbert's snout and is like,
Quick little animal handling.
oh yeah, absolutely. Natural one. I'm kidding.
Please no.
It's okay.
17.
17's good.
Yeah.
I will say it's weird. Maybe this should have been more of an insight check, right? But there's kind of a indulgence when Cuthbert kind of lets you pet his snout, and he kind of rests his snout against your forehead, almost like saying back to you, "You're a good boy."
Yeah. So sick. Like, I'm not a fucking puppy.
He's like, Finn, thank you. I appreciate it. He does feel genuinely good about that, and then he heads out.
There's like a light breeze as a small snort kind of tussles the hair, right? It's warm, definitely has an ionic kind of smell to it.
Tickles the nose hairs.
I will say, Cress will vacate this space with Sanctum Metallica members as well.
Hmm.
They will go to that sort of entrance hall.
Sure.
To craft there.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Cress, you head over there. Let's do Finn real quick. So Finn, you
do me. Sorry.
Hey, I've seen the art, man.
Boy.
So you guys and you leave the mess hall, the dining room. You come into like this open hallway, and this is where you would part ways, right? Finn heading back towards kind of the heart of the temple, Cress heading to the right towards the entrance. Cuthbert escort continuing with you, Cress. Finn, you make your way down the hall, and as you make your way, you see again a few clerics who kind of nod, right? You see the odd Ironborn Ranger who kind of like nod towards you, and then the eyes kind of catch the weapon at your hip.
Can you actually send me the stat for that? Because I don't have the item itself. In my inventory.
Let's see.
But yeah, he's I think after that like momentary self-doubt and that kind of confirmation from Cress that he is living up to the expectations of what that is, he's wearing it a bit more proudly.
Okay. And definitely it garners a response from the Rangers. There's a kind of more of a recognition in their nods as they pass you, or like a respectful, right, and warm, certainly. Here, let me just post this for you into
I appreciate it.
There you go. If you search Hue, it should pop up.
Okay, I see. Yep. Okay, so
it is a Lockmire Delver item, so I don't know if you.
I'll have access to it. I just needed the Hue. Perfect. Got it.
Hue.
Hue. Sorry.
Yes. So there is some lore on that item, like on the description stuff. Ignore that, right?
Cool.
The lore that we're going for in game is the
homebrew, baby.
The homebrew. Okay, so you make your way. Kind of heading down the hall. You go up a flight of stairs, hang another left, and you're passing again that pillar, right? That pillar. And you said you're looking for the head priest dude?
Yeah, the person who's
Cripkle?
Yes, Cripkle.
Okay. Roll a perception check, please.
I'm sorry, what check?
Perception.
Perception. Jesus fuck. My perception. Ooh. Finn's not rolling. We're rolling fairly well today. Knock on wood.
Is that actually wood? Didn't sound like it.
It is. It's probably shit wood. 16.
16. With a 16, you now find yourself kind of in the hall. This is the entrance to that inner kind of like volcanic area that you guys had deposited the body, where you had parted from Zenku and the other two Ironborn Rangers. So you're kind of like just at the entrance to that chamber. And with your 16, where you stand, you also notice that the hall that you're in does continue down, right? There are several clerics and monks standing in this hallway. There are 2 clerics and 2 monks. And as you're making your way through, you hear something coming from down that hall behind the monks and the clerics. You hear what sounds like screaming. What sounds like panicked screaming.
Damn.
Continues for a few seconds, and the monks look to each other. The clerics look at each other. There's kind of a, uh-oh. There's a recognition. They're immediately kind of glancing at you, seeing if
he
you
moves,
picked up on it.
He moves toward it. He's not a guy that doesn't.
Okay. As you move towards it, one of the monks steps forward and goes, "I'm sorry, cannot let you pass this point."
Someone in trouble in there?
Perhaps, but they will be tended to shortly.
Ah.
Rest assured, they are cared for.
Sure sounds like it. Thank you so much for your kindness.
Bows to you. Slight nod of the head.
Keeps walking.
So this is where the hallway kind of like an L shape. So you can continue into the chamber where you had left the Zenku and the two Ironborn.
Okay.
So you enter into that space. They are still there. They are deep in conversation, the three. The body of Astiff wrapped in the fabrics that yourself and Cress had procured and originally kept it. Lays at the foot of this runically carved anvil. And as you enter the space, you're immediately washed by the heat. Again, this is a very wide stone and iron bridge that juts out over a lava pool. Again, as Button really aptly put for us, the kind of place the rings of power might be forged. Right? There's lava. There's like a lava fall in the back of the room as it kind of flows down in sheets into the lava pit below, and the heat radiates. Although you are somewhat surprised, given your proximity to this place, as you kind of stand here, it's tolerable. The heat somehow, for some reason, is tolerable. It's warm, but tolerable. As the three stand in conversation, they all turn at your arrival. As the stone kind of grates open, and Finn, you step into the space.
Nope, sorry to interrupt. I was just looking for Krivkul.
No apologies necessary. Come, Finn. It's actually good that you come by. We were just about to send for you.
Ah. You love to see a coincidence.
Certainly is convenient when it happens, though, isn't it?
Sure. What can I do for you?
Not us, necessarily, but gestures to the body of Astiff. We are going to be preparing for his funeral soon. We were hoping you would be willing to take part.
I didn't know the person, but I'd be happy to give them some honors as they depart from this world.
Whether you know them or not, if you recognized by the Ironborn, it's a brotherhood. They all know each other in some ways, even if you never met before, even if you don't know their face. Ironborn.
You know what they're made of.
Like their own, exactly.
It'd be an honor. My only request is I have a couple questions about the pillar outside.
Of course, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Such as, what's been on your mind?
What is it? There's a lot of runic carvings. It's history.
From what I'm told, that stone was found here many, many centuries ago, when the Circle of the Iron Hearth, Sage Elda and her company, when they were able to seal away the fire giants that were terrorizing this area, the King of Iron. They were able to bring him away. That piece that you see there, that was one of the fronts of the Iron Throne that he sat upon. It tells the stories of the things that they had to do during the War of the Dragons, the 1,000-Year War. It is a chronicle of that time.
It's a piece of history. Any magical properties that you've been able to discern?
Not that we have been able to discern, but we were told when it was placed to keep it safe, keep it sacred. So it sits outside of our forge.
I'd like the opportunity to take a look at it, see if there are any innate magical properties. Given my proclivity for rune carving, I think I would like to.
Absolutely.
If there's anything, I understand that there's a lot of power that comes from giant kind, and if there's something sitting here that could put anybody in danger, I'd like to be made aware of it. This is part of my history.
Luxian is absolutely masterpiece. If there was anything true danger, I would be willing to share that with you.
I just want to remind Alec, because it's been a minute, but we have already checked the pillar and it was radiating abjuration magic.
That's right.
So,
yes, thank you.
Clarification. You guys got a read on abjuration magic in that area, but the source of those were
in the
behind
space.
that doorway. Yeah. The pillar itself didn't give any magic, but there was a room adjacent to it in the end of that hallway next to it. And you got the abjuration and evocation
I was getting
readings.
evocation, abjuration, and enchantment from behind the
Correct.
door, but I was
Yes.
in my notes it says that there are separately, like, there's a magic column and pillar that is abjuration and evocation. Unless I misnotated.
Yeah, I think I might have goofed up on my explanation too. No, the pillar didn't radiate any magic. Although you did manage to discern a runic carving.
Correct.
That could. Yeah. Yes, if there's anything that I felt would be detrimental to the Ironwood or the world at large, rest assured, it is not something I would handle in secret. Roll an insight check for us, please.
Inside. 18.
He says this, but somehow you don't quite believe him. You get the sense that this is an individual who is prepared to keep secrets.
Sort of, not intimidatingly, but just in a way to foster seriousness. I don't much appreciate being lied to. I'm not saying you are at this point, but I understand the importance of this object. Secrets. And he leans in and says so quietly, he doesn't want to discredit this individual in front of...
Sure. In front of the other two, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Secrets that you think are meant to keep people safe often hurt them far more, in my experience. So I would happily hear you out privately, but I can assess this to the best of my ability if things are kept from me. I'm sure you understand.
Roll a persuasion check.
Please.
Please.
No, I'm talking to myself. Not you. Not you.
No, you're right, though. I should say please. It's the polite thing to do.
Right. Persuasion check is a 15.
Kind of contemplates your words. Says, perhaps after we lay Astif to rest, you and I should have a conversation in private.
I'd appreciate that very much.
So that brings us then to the subject of Astif's funeral.
Hmm.
We are going to need a few ironwood tree. Raw cut, fresh, you all can see to that. Once you have 6 in hand, you can bring it back here, and then we can begin.
Chopping down trees easy enough for me. I have a bit of a grudge with them at this moment, because I could not stay in one. So, I will do that.
Coco and Riddick go. Yeah, we can do that. Yes, we'll manage. Says, well, the sooner y'all bring those back to us, the sooner we can begin, and the sooner we can move on to other things. He stares at you, Finn, locking eyes as he says that.
Okay. Imagine he goes out and cuts trees.
Okay. Cress, you are in this like foyer area, right? There are several tall statues in fairly decent condition looking over you, the fire giants of old. You see them dressed in the garbs of warriors. You can get just a sense for, as you stand in this space, that this was a very militaristic society. This was a society that prized martial prowess. All of them are very like hyper militaristic in appearance.
Yeah.
So
Some things remind me of home in a way I don't like. They will settle down with Cuthbert.
Absolutely. Cuthbert kind of curls in around you, kind of in that spot in a corner of the room, draws the wing over you with enough just to kind of like cover you from like from most views, but giving you enough of a gap that you can still see through and make stuff out should you need to. Okay. You begin crafting. So you begin kind of grinding away at the leaves and adding them to your tinctures and your oils. Go ahead. Let's have that. I think we were calling it medicine or survival, was it? I can't remember.
I think medicine.
With plus proficiency.
Plus proficiency.
Yeah, for the mango leaves.
It's 13, 18, 19, 20. 20.
20. Yeah, with the 20, you absolutely. How many mango leaves do you have left in your possession here?
7.
7. Yeah, I mean, with a 20, like getting up to there, and this is now getting to be kind of practice for you. I'd say you can get away with making 2 potions here.
Oh, you are generous.
Me
Thank you.
want to go to there. Make them potions.
You have 2 health potions. I will say you are starting to, because you've been recycling your vials. I think Finn,
Yeah.
I think you guys confirmed that Finn gave you back
I
the
keep
vial.
taking back the vials as they're consumed.
Yep, perfect. Yeah, so yeah,
So I
you're able
now
to make
have
2,
3 in my inventory.
3 health potions in your inventory. Very good. Very, very handy. It is when you're kind of nearing the end of your brewing of the second, right? As you're kind of decanting the extract into the vial. There's Finn comes back into the room. Finn, as you kind of make your way over to them, you get like very herbal kind of earthy smells coming from where Cress is working. As they have produced the potions, the 2 of you are reunited in this foyer.
Look at
How'd it
you.
go?
I'm about to
sorry?
go cut down some trees.
Is that wise?
It's for
Wow.
a funeral.
Oh, I see.
And then sort of leans in. Krifkel, he's definitely keeping something from the others. I think I've convinced him to tell me about it, but
He's keeping something from the others.
the Rangers at least doesn't want them to know about it. Pertaining the pillar. It's concerning. So I'm to talk to him later, but I'm keeping you in the loop. So what I learn is what you'll learn.
I appreciate you. Suppose it bears saying, they would like to look around the space really quick to make sure no one else is here.
Yeah, no, I would say you can save the roll. No one else. Yeah.
Okay. Wrath's eyes are familiar. They were in the dream of the mountain. I saw these strange, unnatural beasts with hollow eyes, and when I looked into those eye sockets, beyond them I found glowing yellow eyes just like his. And I'm not getting to read that he's a bad guy. But, you know, maybe I'm wrong. Or maybe he's being used, or...
I wonder if the two may be connected in some way. The pillar is a part of a throne from a fire giant. So I wonder if its presence is affecting something here. Because I think it's strange that those two things coincide. This object's presence here, and he seemed an odd man, Wrath, but I'm not quick to prescribe any sort of animosity.
Yeah, no, he seemed kind. It does occur to me that Sage Elda sealed a herald of the Pantheon of Oros beneath this mountain, and the Sanctum Metallica worships the Pantheon of Oros. They may feel it's in their best interest to release it. It bears considering.
No, I believe you. I'm just thinking about how the world's already right fucked.
Well, they may think that it would unfuck it. They worship Oros.
I know.
They may see this as a assist in their gods, which it is. It's just messy. But it would explain the fissures.
The rust monster's coming up. Seismic activity like that. Zeal's a scary thing.
Oh, yeah.
At least to me. So like I said, if I learn anything from Krifkul, you're going to know it, and maybe together we can piece some of that information together, figure out something, and help if at all possible. He hands them 2 more potion bottles. Ones that he used.
They'll take the 2 potion bottles, put them on their belt, and then hand him 2 full potions.
You know what? You're a very beautiful human being. Thank you so much.
That's very generous. I can come with you to cut down trees.
They bump you. If you'd like, sure. I'd be happy to have your company.
Yeah, I also...
Maybe give Cuthbert some air.
Yeah, I think Cuthbert would like to be out of here.
Cuthbert would like to be out of here.
Yeah.
I was going to say that the lad seemed uneasy.
Understandably.
Hey, so do I. You doing okay?
No, but I also know that this is not a problem for today. We have to get to Damara.
Keep it in mind. And keep the promise we made.
We will return to the problems when we have time for them.
He puts his hand out. We'll return to the problem when we're able to help.
That the 3 of you, make your way out of the foyer, past the heavy doors, and you're now out in the mountain air again. The twilight sky, just a small thin layer of orange, red, just at the edge of the horizon, at the edge of the Sandsea. While here it is darker, purple, and much colder outside as you step out into this space. Cuthbert immediately just kind of shakes, and like as the cool air hits, just kind of like from the tip of the snout down to the tail, the wing kind of flaring back and forth with a loud snap. Kind of scratches at the floor. You get the sense, okay, very relieved to be out of that place.
Yeah, that's fair, buddy.
I imagine as Finn walks out, there is just like that chill that hits his spine, and he like unintentionally just kind of. Okay.
two of you just
it's like the energy in there was weird.
So, looking out around you, there are, several ironwood trees. There are enemies everywhere. There are several ironwood trees.
I heard a
all
car
over.
horn outside and it scared the fuck out of me.
I was wondering. I saw the reaction. I was like, oh, I didn't even get there yet.
It was just like, hello. Sorry.
No, you're fine. So, yeah, there's stands of ironwood trees nearby, right? Cress, I will say too, with your keen perception, just your passive and being a tracker, right, and having already kind of assessed, oh, we've had some rust monsters in this area. Looks like they've been picking at some of these trees. You also do spy the heavy footprints of the minotaurs heading off as they kind of leave the platform. You can see it looks they travel on foot and they hike deeper or around the section of the mountain.
Maybe we stay with the Histaerians tonight.
I think that's the right call.
On the subject of that, it's not too. What did I have the session in? 5 p.m. Like you guys reached there at the end of the day last time, so we'll say it's about 6 p.m. now.
Okay.
Just I like to work in half hours.
So do we want to? You need to chop these trees for a funeral. You want to do that tonight?
It seemed like they were pretty intent on having the funeral as soon as possible. But
All right.
I could find you if...
I'm not gonna leave you in there.
It's very kind of you.
Yeah.
Well, seems we gotta go double time then. Get this going. I feel like we can have the conversation quickly after the funeral and then we can leave.
All right. Let's hop to it.
He just starts double timing.
Okay.
Yeah, there are trees about.
Yeah,
It looks
trees
like
around
they're
about.
not fully. They're already being consumed by rust monsters.
Several of them are already being consumed. Like the branches are already kind of like breaking. And roll a nature check. If you're
Nature.
kind of checking them out.
Yeah. It's a 6 on the dice. Sorry, one sec. 13.
Okay. A 13. I mean, you've been in a wide variety of forests, and you've seen the natural world in a way that many others have never can even imagine it, right? And you can get the sense that yes, these trees have actually been suffering under the pestilence of the rust monsters, right? The leaves are thinning, the branches are looking frail. Even though up here is like cold and misty, they still seem like they're just not quite thriving anymore.
Yeah, I think that the sacrifice of these will not harm the region. As they point out a number of trees that have been afflicted. I don't have means of chopping things down.
Finn does have a...
You have Hugh.
I have
You have Hugh.
Hugh, but I do believe I also have a... I thought I had... Let me double check. Nope, I lied. I do not have an axe as well. Damn.
But
Hugh is an axe, right? Am I dumb?
he was a battle
I was
axe.
talking about like an
Oh.
additional axe to give Cress to
It is right.
use.
Gotcha.
I do not have one.
So, you guys have several trees to get cut, but only one axe. I mean, Cress, assuming Finn might use Hugh, Cress, I would say you're picking out the trees already kind of infers an advantage for that attack roll, to kind of work away at those trees.
Yay!
Would burning a giant smite and getting big make this process go faster at all? Just given like the differential in strength and like capacity? No's valid.
I would say, yeah, it certainly can. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
He'll
You'd be able to
because I get
get it
yeah.
quickly.
Yeah, so he'll use his giant smite and just grow in size and then begin to really chip away at these trees.
Sure. Yeah. Give us the flavor of the giant smite as it's popping here.
I think he just sort of he takes Hugh off of his hip and just sort of Right. Smacks it to his chest where his heart is, and then just kind of grows in size, like the purplish runic pattern sort of obscuring his form for a moment as he gets big.
There's even, and as it happens, there's even like a little bit of like a Cuthbert, but nothing aggressive, just like a whoa giant. Okay, so we have Giant Finn wielding the battle axe Hugh. Go ahead and roll us some attack rolls at advantage. So you do. Yeah, go ahead.
21.
Easy peasy hits.
On the first.
Right?
Yeah.
First, yeah. So as you kind of like cut into it, right? With the 21, you get like with just the single strike, like halfway through it, through the tree already. You can see as you kind of like feel the way the axe kind of even slides into the ironwood. You know, you're expecting much more resistance, and as you kind of pull it out, right, you can see Hugh seems very adept at chopping plant life.
Okay. Yeah, he just kind of
You're dealing max damage with every, mechanically speaking, at max damage at every roll.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll say, you know, we'll just kind of ride the 20 just for brevity's sake.
Sure.
Right? I'm not going to make you roll each tree.
Makes sense.
But certainly you were able to chop down the requisite number of trees in short order with your Giant's Might, because that lasts for, I believe, 10 minutes.
Let me just double check. I don't want to... Giant's Might lasts for a minute.
A minute. Still, 10 rounds. And you're going at advantage, hitting and max damage for all of these.
Okay.
It's like as it's fading is when you are just kind of
okay.
I'll say you have the 6 trees that you would need felled, right? And they, now they're just kind of you've got them here on the floor before you. And yeah.
As these have fallen, Cress will just go to the stump of the tree and Druid craft so that a little sprout emerges of a new ironwood for the future.
Awesome.
Love that shit.
Love it. Okay. So yes, with your trees in order between the 3 of you, you're able to transport them back to the Sanctum Metallica.
Yeah.
I'm weak.
Yeah.
Finn is definitely like pushing with his foot as he's walking with 2 of them under his arms.
Like almost like giant hiking poles.
Yeah.
Yes.
So with your trees in hand, make your way again. The ironwood, the Sanctum Metallica, not far away. These are like just right outside, pretty much. Just down the slopes a little bit. So it's a little bit of effort to kind of get them up. We'll say athletics check at advantage, Finn. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Athletics check at advantage is a 20, non-nat. 15.
Yeah.
Ooh, wait,
Yeah.
15 athletics?
Yeah.
21.
21. Yeah, so you guys get them up in no time. It's the trees are felled in just about a minute, right? And they're transported up back to the ironwood, back to the Sanctum Metallica in like 10, right? Just as Ridek and Coco are, now suited up, making their way out the doors, here come the 3 of you with the requisite number of ironwood, and Ridek goes,
Coco, I'm weak. Help.
Right. Starts helping you, Cress, to kind of pull the remaining trees back in, and Ridek's just looking around like, well, shit, that was something. You guys never fail to impress.
It's all Finn.
No.
Yes, actually. We'll drag them. Are we taking these to the lava room?
Right. The really comfortable lava room.
The really comfortable lava room.
All right.
With the other 2 now there, it's short order. You guys are able to kind of get them down the hall. Even as you're going, a few, monks, dragonborn. Again, most of these are like bronze, brass, very metallic dragonborn. Who will like notice you. No golds. golds, no silvers, but bronze, brass, coppers. Right? They're all kind of present. All kind of work to kind of assist you as you were all making your way through. You ferry them through the Sanctum Metallica back to the lava room, right? You see Krivkul, you see Astif, the deceased elf. Body is dressed now. In the time you were gone, placed back in the armor with the sigildry of the Rangers. Body rests at peace. There is a sprig of ironwood branches already kind of clutched in the hands and resting on the chest. As you all bring those trees in, Zenku Krivkul looks to you all and goes, all right. The next thing is to chop the wood and make a pallet for him. And then we place the pallet upon the anvil.
Gets to it.
Okay. Cress, well, I'll leave it to you two. How do you go about preparing the pyre?
I'm gonna be frank. They
Yep.
look at Coco and I keep forgetting the halfling's name.
Riddick.
Riddick. And Riddick. You wanna help him?
Yeah. They're also already kind of like stripping branches off. It takes time. It takes effort, right? These are ironwood trees, and these things don't break easily.
I'm so useless with all of this.
Oh, you can certainly I would absolutely allow things like using nature or something to help guide them, and however, if you
Okay.
anything you can kind of come up with.
Yeah, I suppose they will provide the help action to Finn.
Sure. Absolutely. Finn, how would you like to go about kind of preparing this pyre?
I think I imagine this isn't the first time he's done something like this, so I think he is just kind of following the memories he has of trying to assist the Ironwood Rangers in events like these in the past. So I think he's just being very diligent about chopping the wood and making sure that the pieces are sturdy in a way that is able to support this process.
Absolutely. The two of you go about. I will say, let's call this. So, Finn, you're going to get this at advantage with Cress's help action.
Mm-hmm.
I will say you can either do like an athletics to tend to get the branches. I'd also take things like survival if that is what you're proficient in. I would even allow something like history because, like you said, you've done stuff like this before. In fact, a lot of Goliath funerals, right? Those unfortunate enough to, basically be dishonored.
Yeah.
They would be burned.
Given the way I flavored it, I think history makes the most sense. So we'll roll a history check, and I am proficient.
At advantage.
18.
18, yeah, easily enough. You guys are able to get to work. You are able to strip the branches with the aid of Hugh. And Cress, you notice Finn doing this with almost like a practiced hand as he preps this pyre. With each ironwood log you procure and that you place onto the pyre, there is a metallic ringing. As the ironwood is placed on the anvil, on the top of the anvil, it comes down with a very clear tone, like that of a bell, that resonates. You feel it in your chest, the hollowness of this, right? And you can just feel there's a weight here. And as you guys are working, more clerics, monks, and several rangers also start to stand behind Krivkul as they have gathered now for this ritual. And as you place each branch onto the anvil, boom, boom, it's kind of that bell sound. The pyre is built. Astiff is placed by Ridek and Coco upon the pyre. The gathered monks, rangers, clerics begin a very slow, solemn song. It comes from deep within. And as they sing, the anvil continues to ring, punctuating as they go. In short order, you see the ironwoods start to kind of glow orange upon the anvil, gradually increasing in heat and intensity until eventually they catch flame. The pyre ignites, the flame consumes the body of Astiff at its top, at its zenith. And you are all left with this deep sense of camaraderie. And even the two of you can feel that there was a belonging, that there's a mourning happening here as they lay their brother to rest. Cress, can you roll an investigation for us? And actually, Finn, you can as well.
Investigation?
Investigation.
What am I investigating?
Well, this.
Because that's an active, like.
Well, true. What do we have for passive investigation? It's probably not super high, but
12.
12 as well. Okay, that's fine. Really, this is something familiar to something that you've both seen before. This song that they're singing, right? There are elements of it that are kind of like deep in the throat, and it's almost reminiscent of what you'd heard the Herculean tree singers back in the Ironwood sing. This kind of magic that forms and works with this land, right? That kind of calls upon the spirits and power of this place. And this song sounds very reminiscent of something that you would have heard them sing. And it's this light.
Oh, sorry.
No, please.
In Elvish, they will just murmur under their breath, "May the mountain cradle you." Actually, in Druidic, given the space.
Sure. The pyre continues to burn, continues to smolder. The body of Astiff is consumed in the flames, and as the body is gone, just that last kind of rush of heat, for just a moment, the glow burns a very kind of vibrant rust red. And the flame lingers after the pyre now breaking down over the anvil and spilling off the bridge into the lava pit below. There's still a flame sitting just above the anvil as it glows brightly. Finn, you're staring at this flame, and you feel a call. Feel as though something is reaching out to you. This light is signaling something to you, calling you forward.
He moves.
As you move forward, the light comes off of the anvil, and just before it touches your chest, it burns in a bright silver. It presses into you, and it's not hot, it's not painful. And as it kind of hits you, there's just a moment where it just kind of disintegrates over you, and everybody behind you, Cress, you included, you can see these kind of like silvery wisps coming off of Finn where that flame touched him. And Finn, as you back away, you feel that you've been given something. You feel that something has been... You feel a sense of appreciation, a genuine sense of appreciation. Finn, you've just received the blessing of Valhalla.
Why?
So
I just got an axe.
The Rangers have a thing for you, man.
I hate that. They're so nice.
So, and in that moment, the song slowly fades. Everybody stops kind of singing. And they all eyes for a second there are locked on you, Finn.
He'll just sort of look down at the pyre as it begins to dissipate, and in giant, he will just you helped make a better world. Thank you.
Krivkull steps forward to you, Finn. It seems as though asked if Spirit wanted you to know how grateful they were. I think in that moment, he was hoping to speak on behalf of all the Iron. I promised you an explanation. Looks at you, Cress, and he says, "You are welcome to come too. It's clear that Finn here cares deeply for you and trusts you. You also, too, helped deliver Astif to this place so that he could find peace."
I'm glad you beat me to it, because I was just going to say that what I know, they know.
I understand. We gotta take. Alright. We got to trust each other in these times. If we are hoping to make any sort of way forward.
Does Cress get the sense that he wants to have this conversation elsewhere?
Yes. He's attempting to kind of usher, kind of gestures as though he would lead you out the room.
Toward the exit or deeper into the sanctum?
Towards the exit.
They happily go. Yes. They were gonna be like, I don't think so if it was deeper into the sanctum.
So I will say this: you guys leave the lava room, right? And then it seems like he wants to lead you back down that hallway where, Finn, you were originally stopped before, where you had heard the screams. I think he's going to lead you. So it is going to be into a new section of the sanctum.
Okay.
A section that you have not seen before. If just wanted to know if anything there.
I think Cress pauses at that new section. They look up at Cuthbert. And they look toward the exit. How far is the exit?
The exit is a good bit of ways. It's several hundreds of feet away. You would have to kind of go down like 2 long main halls before you'd reach that foyer again. And those halls are probably both about 100 feet each. So the exit, mechanically speaking, you'd probably get out of there pretty easy with some like good dash actions. But conceptually, it definitely feels further away.
Yeah,
it's a little bit of a distance. Yeah.
There's very obvious concern. They're not disguising it.
Yeah, Finn will kind of stop. What are you thinking? Worried?
Cuthbert doesn't like it here.
You don't have to come. Either way, I'm telling you what I learned. I just wanted to offer you the space if you wanted it. If you don't, especially for yours and Cuthbert's comfortability, I implore you to do what makes you feel safe.
They'll give Finn's hand a squeeze. Then I think we wait here. Thank you.
We'll squeeze theirs and put his opposite on top. Of course.
Just be careful.
Do what I can. So yes, I will be careful. Kind of just pats their hand one more time, squeezes as he walks forward.
The Senku Krivkal leads you deeper into the temple, into the sanctum.
Mm-hmm.
You continue going for like another probably 100 feet or change before you come to a large door, very heavy iron and wood door. And from the other side of this door, you hear many voices. Some are simply speaking loudly, and occasionally you actually hear a shout and a scream. And Krivkal looks to you and says, "What you are about to see is an important secret. Something that, if this information came to the wrong hands, well, I know the world's already ended, and we may not be able to think about what the worst could be, but needless to say, it is important to me that I can trust you. I don't mind if you share it with your companion, but anybody else, and unfortunately, I feel you might make an enemy of me."
Sort of just takes a step forward. Duly noted.
Seems to understand each other. Opens the door. There's a step in. Yeah. Sorry, that wasn't my mouth. You step in and you see you are in what was possibly once a library. The bookshelves have been kind of pushed off to the side of the room in very haphazard fashion. You see there are books and papers kind of littering the floor, right? And as you step in here, you see that there are tens of clerics praying, all facing a bed, a ornately constructed bed, upon which sleeps a satyr. You see an individual, a female presenting satyr. And as you kind of look over this person, you can see there are scars all over the body. You see one of the horns is broken. You see that they are in a deep slumber, as there are priests praying around the outside of it. Right? And as you watch, you see one of the priests suddenly, hands drop, falls to the floor, completely unconscious. Another one in the corner removes the hand, starts kind of like grabbing at the hair and just kind of mindlessly babbling to themselves. As Krivkal, you see there are several like monks on the side of the room, and as these individuals around in this space kind of start experiencing these strange effects, they run forward and they start kind of tending to them immediately, checking them over, making sure they're comfortable and cared for, pulling them away from this prayer circle. And Krivkal looks to you, Finn, and says, "The madness grips them. On occasion, if they pray for too long, or sometimes seemingly at random, they just suffer. This, we're not exactly certain why it happens, but it's been happening to our clerics quite often."
Who are they praying to? Who's this in the bed?
This person. That is the god of protection. Korume themselves. We found them. They had fallen from the sky. Since we found them, they have not waked. They have not stirred. But we are certain it is them. We can feel it. Now we are just hoping to see if we can restore them somehow. with our worship. You understand, Mr. Reese, Mr. Finn Reese, that this is an important secret we must keep. Should word of a god, fallen and vulnerable, become common knowledge, I can only imagine things will get much worse.
Right. May I approach?
You may, but be careful. The madness is difficult to deal with.
Walks forward, unlinking the ghost lantern from his hip, placing it next to the bed, seeing if there's any interaction, any sort of change.
The lantern light glows, kind of cascading over the body, forming these kind of strange shadows as you kind of look at them. It doesn't appear as though anything
Perfect.
changes, but you approach and now closer. Finn, roll me a d20, please. Not adding anything to it.
13.
13. You're fine. As you kind of step forward, there is you hear these kind of strange whispers in your mind. Something kind of stirring in the air around this individual. As you look at them, you can see the body is heavily scarred. There are deep wounds. There's a scar that kind of like crosses across the face, down the neck, out over the chest. The body is covered by a blanket. And you can see the chest heaving slightly. You can tell this individual is alive, but unmoving, utterly incapacitated, at least for the moment. As you stand and you examine, another cleric seems to break ranks, rushes forward towards you, grabs you by the chest, grabs you by the clothes, and just kind of starts babbling mindlessly as he's kind of like clawing at you. Not anything that could hurt you.
He will just trace a rune with his finger on his chest and cast Calm Emotions.
You cast Calm Emotions. Immediately, the rune, the magic kind of like lights up. You can see the rune, the light of it reflected in the eyes for just a moment. And as the light of the rune fades, it lingers in the eyes for just a moment. And the individual, a human, right, with a long black braids, kind of looks at you. What happened?
Seems like you need some water and a break. Go.
Very disoriented, kind of backs away from you. Thank you. And moves away. Two monks approach and kind of escort the individual.
He will place a hand on Korome's. I'm sorry this has happened to you. All I can do is offer the protection that you've offered so many. May you heal. And may you offer your protection once more to those in most need of it. I will not lie and say I'm a religious man. I've seen the hope you bring. And he will just kind of stand and begin to exit.
You leave the body and Krivkul awaits you. He says, "We are doing what we can. We know the gods need those to worship, draw their strength from those that worship them. So we have..."
You're a little quiet, David. Sorry.
Sorry. He says, "We know the gods Their strength comes from those that worship them. The strength of belief and prayers. And that is what we offer here. But it is dangerous for us to attempt it. We've seen the madness. It affects us throughout the process. That is why I keep this place secret. No.
I understand. Thank you for opening this up to me.
Like I said, in these times, the ones we trust are the only way forward for us.
I implore you to implore your clerics to be far more gentle with themselves. This madness, I only imagine it exacerbates the issues that are at play here. A god of protection would not want people keeling over to make sure they're fine. In my humble opinion.
I will take what you've said under consideration.
Well, thank you again for the hospitality. And he walks out.
Wish you well on your journey, Master Fenris.
Much appreciated. Oh, look for Cress, and I imagine they're doing stuff.
Yeah, Cress. After a while, do you kind of stay, or do you guys head towards the exit?
I do think they would have waited at that intersection.
Okay. Yeah. There are a number of clerics and rangers and monks that kind of depart. Coco and Ridek both linger, right? They kind of approach you. You can see Ridek has eyes are puffy from crying during the service. He says, I just don't know if I can do this anymore. I just want to go home. I just want to see my family again. I think, Coco, I'm going back to the Ironwood. Coco says, your decision is understandable, my friend. I feel I must walk a different path. I feel I must continue the way of the Ironwood. Perhaps become a warden myself. See you, Cress. And they say, thank you so much for everything you've done for us. We know you'll be heading off on your journey soon, but if it were not for you, your companion, well, it might have been more than just one day that we sent back to the Earth Mother.
You're cutting out quite a bit, David.
Oh, it might have been more than just the one we sent back today to the embrace of the Earth Mother.
I'm glad you're still with us. Whatever choice you make is the right one. There is no one right way to grieve.
Ridek looks at you, and you can see the tears welling in the eyes. With the passive insight check, you can really know that there's definitely some guilt about feeling the need to go home and possibly abandon this post. You know, there's definitely some guilt, but
Yeah. Seeing that, they squeeze his shoulder. There's nothing to be ashamed of. If I could go home, I would.
it just dawns on him. You see it in his face that you are a sea elf. Cress, I'm so sorry.
There is nothing to apologize for. You just go home and you take care of yours.
I will. And for what it's worth, should you ever need a place, we're most certainly welcome in my home.
They well up a little bit. Thank you. I might take you up on that.
And it is around this time, Finn, You hear the heavy footfalls of Finn as the Goliath makes his way through this large hall, reuniting with your party. Party's reunited. Finn,
Imagine. Oh.
yeah. What's your expression, Finn, as you approach here? How does Finn? Basically, would you be up for offering Cress an insight check or anything like that?
Absolutely. There is a hefty combination of reverence, anger, and concern. I think that is very palpable. He is not masking it. This is probably the first time that so much like the smile hasn't been put on.
Mm-hmm.
So that for me, that would warrant advantage because he is not fucking hiding it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I rolled bad on both those, so 13.
I'd still say it's enough to get that there is that like reverence, anger, and concern for sure.
Finn definitely decides that DC, so yeah.
What do you say we get out of here?
I'd like that very much.
They will give Riddick a hug, give Coco a hug. Stay safe on your journeys, my friends.
There's definitely like a very warm embrace as Riddick, in the embrace kind of muffles over to you. You too, Cress, please. I hope we find you again. I hope we find all of you again.
Don't travel alone, all right? You find other people go into the Ironwood.
Yes, it seems a prudent recommendation. We will certainly. And Coco says, yes, we'll see if perhaps there's a company making their way out soon. We'll join them. And
best of luck to the both of you, wherever you go.
There's Riddick is a very more of a intimate, kind of casual, thank you. And you as well. Please be safe. Coco, there's a bit more of a formal, like, you. Farewell, Fenris.
Look forward to seeing you around.
Your party, shoop.
We run.
Assuming you guys are out the Sanctum Metallica, back in the fresh air again.
Once they're out, and once Riddick and Coco have departed, I think Cress just turns around and no words. They just hug Finn.
They feel this immediate exhale of breath, just this relief. And it's not... They would just feel a bit of a weep. Just a bit of a quiet cry. He hugs them back.
I think they just stay in that space for as long as he needs.
After a while, it's not long, but Cuthbert also kind of presses the head back on the other side. And Finn's kind of sandwiched between Cress and Cuthbert.
It's a good sandwich. He sort of, after a moment, he'll just sort of nod at Cuthbert and pull back from Cress and... Thank you. How are you? Are you alright?
Oh yes, my feelings are the concerning ones here, definitely.
I'm just checking. It's quite apparent I'm having a time, but your feelings also matter. And we're in this together, so I wanted to make sure you're okay.
I am okay. Now, Finn.
Yes, Chris.
How are you?
Not well.
Real quick before we go super into this, can we assume walking and talking?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, I think in fact rather than walking,
flying.
If we have the trail, flying over these prints toward the Astorians.
Okay.
Mhm.
Roll a survival check for us, Cress. Just kind of keep track of those prints. I'm trying to think of a word, a synonym for talking that begins with F. So we can have flying and
Flying and conversation.
Finagling.
flying and finagling.
What is my survival? It's
Or
high.
gliding and gabbing.
Oh, gliding and
Yeah,
gabbing's
gliding and
very
gabbing.
good.
There's our episode title. All right.
Oh
Gliding
yeah,
and gabbing.
I love that.
15.
15, yeah, easy enough. These are deep prints, big prints, and this creature was not trying to move stealthily or anything. So yeah, you're able to take those tracks and follow that towards that village. So you two are on the back of Cuthbert. Twilight, go.
Go. I've been better. What I'm about to tell you is going to sound right mad. But I'm sure you've experienced right mad before.
It's the end of the world. Everything is awful. Everything is bad. Everything is strange.
Well, they had a god in a bed, heavily injured. Oh, fuck me. They had
They have a
Cormay.
god taking a nap.
They looked heavily injured, distressed. It seems that they're trying to bring some sort of life back to Cormay by offering up clerics as worship, but it seems to be driving them bloody mad. That's the secret. I think that might be why this place is odd. They have the physical manifestation of a god laying in a bed.
Which god?
Cormay. Heavily scarred, horn broken form of a satyr. Just as depicted.
And I know, David, that Gilda worshipped Cormay.
Gilda did
Primarily.
worship Cormay. Yep. Gilda was a worshiper of Cormay.
They look down at the black spot on their hand.
Do you have an inspiration, Chris?
No.
Go ahead and put that on.
Hey!
Wow, thank you. Yeah, they look down at their hand. I have failed Cormay before. Fuck.
What do you mean?
I mean that. Right before I was taken captive, Pamania and I, and Granny, we all three of us were chasing down members of the Cataphract Legion, goblin legionnaires who had captured. Gosh, do you know the shipwright in the Ironwood? There's a lot of connections.
Right.
Their father created this thing called a rocket. They explain what a rocket is.
Yeah.
And we were trying to retrieve it.
Hmm.
It seemed like a means of contacting or fighting the monarch. But in the midst of that, the Ironborn Rangers who were assisting us, including a follower of Cormay named Gilda, we were all attacked by the Illithid. They overwhelmed us. They paralyzed me immediately. They looked down at Cuthbert and just, you see a wellspring of emotion. They made him disappear. And they overwhelmed Gilda. They seemed particularly interested in this follower of Cormay, and it seems over the months-long process of our imprisonment, while I was just floating in a vat doing nothing, They tried to turn Gilda into one of them. But the process of making her into an illithid did not go as they had intended. And when we were saved, me and Pim, I did not know it was Gilda. And we fought her. And we killed her. They looked down at this spot on their hand. And she marked us for it. Justifiably so.
Can I lean forward and give you a hug? He does so. I'm so sorry.
What if I made this happen?
If you did, then we try to do right by it. Fix it. But I think the world's a lot bigger and there are a lot more parts in play than just you and Pimania. A terrible thing happened amidst a sea of terrible things happening.
But what if that terrible thing gave the Monarch access to Cormay?
Then we fix it.
How do we fix it?
I don't know, but we work towards it. Wrongs can be righted, intentional or otherwise. I believe that. I believe it is what we do. With the choices and the consequences of our actions, good or bad, that define us in the world we live in. Getting to know you, I imagine that there is the intention to do good. I see that. If there is a way to fix it, and I imagine there is. It's a dark world, but it's not a world devoid of hope. I'm happy to look for it with you. I am sorry this happened. Sort of squeezes him a little tighter.
They take in everything he said, and while they take comfort in the words, this list of the things for which they are responsible and the things that they have made worse just flurries through their head. They see Gilda being overtaken. They see Anatole, red-winged, his face a mask they barely recognize. They see a trident pierce their husband's chest. And I think they take refuge in the comfort Finn is giving, but they do just quiet. As they see image after image of the times they have failed, losing Granny Mel, seeing the oceans they called home turned to sand, imagining their home destroyed, this deep-sea trench filled to the brim, the suffocating golden dust. And I don't think they beat the despair in this moment.
See plainly, Cress.
You're very quiet, David.
Oh, sorry. It's a dramatic moment. You see plainly on Cress the contemplation of all that has transpired. time since the invasion. And the three of you gliding on the back of the wind, making your way around the mountain, following these tracks. Eventually you start to see campfire lights, little orange lights, denoting the village of the Minotaurs, the empire of the Asturians. You see large canvas tents that are propped and supported by ironwood trees and the tusks of great beasts. You see a watchtower. You see a watchtower that immediately, Cress, with your keen perception, you can see there's a person in the watchtower who's now noticed you all coming and actively tracking you. Not with a weapon, but curiously. As you were all kind of making your way, you hailed curiously, like, waves back, unsure how to respond, given this is a strange occurrence for their town. You see these large bonfires kind of in the heart of the town. In fact, I can actually move you guys over to the town map that you see. It is small, it is quaint. You see few large totem poles with minotaur skulls affixed to them. And you get the sense that, yes, you have arrived at the Asturian Empire. And as Cuthbert brings you guys in for a landing, that's where we're going to take a break.
Hell
Break
yeah.
time.
All right, guys, we're going to be back in about 5-10 minutes, probably 10 minutes. We're going to take a break. That got heavy, and we'll see you guys soon.
Okay, heavy. We'll see you in a bit.
Bye.
See you soon.
Hello, everybody. We're back.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey guys, welcome back to Heroes of Histaeria Unearthed Inheritance, right here on the wonderful CommuneDM's Twitch channel. We are going to continue with the next bit of our session here. Our heroes have just left the Sanctum Metallica and have flown towards the Asturian Empire, the camp, really, of the Minotaurs. And you guys are just setting up to land here as Cuthbert kind of brings you down just outside the camp.
All right.
You can see there are wooden stakes, like kind of fitted into the mountain, kind of offered a little bit of like protection from anything kind of externally that would be flying in. Again, these large yurt-like tents are incredibly tall to accommodate their citizenry. And as you kind of like peer into the camp, I mean, the Minotaurs are not hard to miss. They're big creatures, right? I mean, creatures like Finn looks average height here, right? Even you can see even ones that look like they are children, right? Tower over Cress.
Yeah.
As they are
my
in the
gosh.
process of like, you see two young Minotaur boys kind of like locking horns as they are kind of like wrestling here in some mud, going about their way.
All right. They will hail the guards. They're not just gonna like walk into this space that isn't theirs. We've come to speak with Rio Vera, if possible.
A burly, shaggy, red-haired Minotaur kind of steps forward. The hair is kind of like parted on the other side of the horn, so that the face is kind of like much more clear. Burly in the extreme, steps forward, goes, "Ah, you've come to see the Emperor."
Yes, I'm so sorry, Emperor Rio Vera.
Right, come, I can take you to him. He arrived not long ago, actually. And he mentioned we should be expecting guests, though did not say that you would be so exotic, let's say. Words, the dragons have not been seen for a very long time. Kind of walking and talking. Yeah.
There is an immediate like discomfort again as they're like, I'm doing my job really. Again.
You guys leads you Cuthbert coming with. I mean, Cuthbert's happy to, right? He's kind of trotting behind, wings furled.
I'm so sorry. What is your name?
My name is Pull it up. I believe it's Ikronin. Yes, my name is Ikronin. Ikronen.
Wonderful. It's a pleasure to meet you, Cronin. My name is Cress. This is my friend Finn and my companion Cuthbert. Are people going to try to hurt Cuthbert if I bring him with us?
Not likely. We will. If he's in our within our boundaries, he will be safe and treated with respect, befitting that of a dragon.
Thank you.
Your little company makes it through, leading you across a very kind of like now muddied floor. It would have been, probably once well-packed dirt, but with the traffic of minotaurs being such large creatures, the dirt has definitely been churned quite a bit, and you get mud kind of caked on your shoes, on the edges of capes, that kind of thing. Cuthbert has mud streaks kind of like up to his ankles. And you guys are then taken down a flight of wooden stairs that have been like, again, so packed and pressed into the side of this little hill. Right, it's kind of hard to tell where the steps kind of begin and where the dirt kind of goes. But you're able to make your way down towards a large tent, very large tent, multi-tiered, the only multi-tiered tent in this village. The entrance has a tall awning that kind of hangs over. You can see there's a huge bonfire just off to the right, where there are a number of older minotaurs, again, reddish, kind of dirty reddish hair, all different spectrums of, between rust to to kind of like a deep orange. These guys, again, seem older. The muzzles are slightly gray. There's also a little bit of gray kind of worked through the braids or, the shag of whatever it is, however they're kind of sporting that do. Cuthbert kind of looks like he's going to kind of hesitates looking at the tent. This is not unfamiliar to you, Cress. There are certain like interior spaces that just are a little tight.
A little tight. Yeah, they will they'll pat his nose. If you just want to look out here.
Cuthbert kind of takes a glance, nods. You get the sense, understands. Not unused to this, right? The two of you are continue to be led by a Cronin into the main chamber here. It is only just like one giant chamber in kind of like a circle. And you see there are all manner of animal pelts and carpets kind of pressed and lining the place, kind of making it quite comfortable. You see a large kind of pile of cushions, right? And a table, the top of which is an animal hide, right? And standing by the table, drinking from a horn, a large horn, you see Rio Vera Ironskin, the Minotaur you had met earlier this evening in the Sanctum Metallica. He kind of is in mid-swig, kind of, I did not expect you all so soon. This is probably not the voice I use for him, but this is the voice I'm going with from here on out.
Perfect. They, now knowing that he's an emperor, will bow. That is his title and his station.
Welcome to the Asturian Empire. I trust we have been hospitable, and looks kind of questioningly over to Cronin, who kind of nods sagely. Welcome, my friends. Can I get you drink? Food?
Do we know if that's polite?
I would say, yeah, probably not impolite to accept if you'd like to.
I think that Cress is just reorienting, hearing how the Sanctum Metallica referred to the Asturians as a tribe and not using the language of the Asturians. They're reorienting and trying to make sure that they actually respect the Asturians and their culture.
Sure.
Seeing that kind of absence in the Sanctum.
Sure. Yeah, I would say, you're cognizant enough of it that I don't really feel like there's a role here necessarily. I mean, this is your demeanor, right? And there's a kind of there's a little bit of a formality to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
He kind of like gestures to two large cushions just on the other side of the table that he kind of stands at. And he says, from my private collection, right? And he kind of leans over, and you see there's this giant stone amphora. He kind of scoops under one massive arm, leans forward to have to pour. He has to get his whole body down to get it to get it into a glass, which are not glasses, but actually large curved horns, the kinds that you can't really set down. So once the drink is in your hand, you basically got to finish it.
Thank you.
But passes it over to you, passes one each to you. He says, I trust you found the sanctum, the monks at the sanctum, hospitable.
Probably to the degree that you did.
It's certainly a secretive group, are they not? Takes a swig from his horn. Do you still intend to travel north to Damaril?
We do, and I believe that's why we've come. They kind of look to Finn, who is being silent, I think, up until this point.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, that's definitely our plan. Wanted to drop by and gauge your thinking. Alex a little fuzzy on
No, you're fine. You're fine.
So, yeah, they will recap for both of these individuals. So we're aware that the Asturian Empire has been temporarily displaced
Hmm.
by the flood, by the strange creature beneath the sands of the Brianterra Bay, the Brine Bay, Brine
Brine
Sea,
Dunes.
Brine Dunes. Damn. And you mentioned that you were protecting a song.
Yes, you have a very good memory. We, the Asturian Empire, have indeed been displaced. We once dwelled in the highlands of Damaril, which, during the last wave, were flooded, were unprepared. No one could have foreseen such a cataclysm. We fled, and as we continued to make our way closer to the Ironwood, it became apparent that the world around us was changing rapidly. Soil became dry, the trees shriveled, and upon the wind came a storm of salt. That's why we call it now the Brine Dunes, as this salt now cakes everything in that region, making it utterly inhospitable.
I see. And something has affected the Kuatoa in the region you mentioned?
My people were close to them, yes. Their farms would often come close to our borders. We maintained a fairly amicable relationship, something that extends far beyond the living memory of any of my people nor theirs. But we started seeing them less and less. They tended to their farms far less and less. We assumed it was just due to the invasion of the monarchs scum. But it has been some time since we last saw them. And in fact, just before we left, we did find several, but they were different. They were mad.
They were what?
Mad. Some sort of strange madness had taken over them. They did not seem capable of speech. They did not seem to understand that we were at once allies, and they were just odd.
David, does that sound consistent with the way Granny was behaving before she stepped through the portal?
Um, Not totally. Granny was more enthralled and kind of
Okay.
seemed like, very kind of like the emo type thing.
Yeah, I mostly was wondering if they were enthralled, but
Hmm.
it might not be something a person would recognize.
Yeah.
But no.
No.
Something else. Okay.
I will say the descriptions, at least for Finn, brings to mind the memory of the clerics that you had just encountered not too long ago. That same kind of sudden onset of just chaotic madness and seeming to be different from individual to individual at any given moment.
He'll just kind of
That
lean down toward Cress and what I explained about in the Sanctum Metallica. People who are offering worship. Sounds similar.
You think they're worshiping something?
To the point of madness, maybe.
That's good to know.
What he described sounds similar. It's definitely a good idea to keep in mind.
I must warn you, my friends, that if you do intend to navigate over the brine dunes, if that is indeed where your path takes you, be very careful. The land there is dangerous. You will need to be well supplied. In particular, do not hesitate to bring good stock of water. There is no water in that place, and the salt will continue to exacerbate your thirst. I just want you to be prepared.
Thank you. Would it be possible for us to ask for... They don't need to be filled. I can fill them, but water skins. Something to carry water.
Absolutely. Something like that can certainly be provided. In fact, reaches kind of back behind some cushions, kind of unfurls a blanket, and you see a kind of crude chest, right? Simple in its design, but functional. Opens it out and pulls out two clay amphoras. These I made myself. Take them.
That is incredibly generous. Thank you.
Happy to oblige. You did offer a very valuable service, something that would be particularly appealing to me.
Yes, the creature beneath the brown dunes.
Yes. If I may be so bold as to perhaps ask that you keep an eye out for something else as well.
What did you have in mind?
A ship. A long ship. Crewed by Minotaur. Their captain, Ramir Ironskin, is my heir. Should you find his ship out in the dunes, please let him know we have returned. Let him know where we are.
Absolutely.
Makes sense.
Ramir is, for spellings, Rimyr.
Okay.
His ship is the Silver Longhorn.
Where do you expect we might find it?
Ideally, it would have been on the eastern bank of the peninsula. His crew would often hunt in the Green Seas, just north of Muldanordan. But with the last wave, I cannot guarantee that that is where you will.
That makes sense. Shoot, I had a question and then it disappeared from my brain completely. Oh, yes. Have you had any scouts? Has anyone been near Damaril since the Empire departed?
I cannot say for certain, but perhaps our Pathfinder, Owena Single Eye. Consult with her. She had a close relationship with, I believe, an alchemist that did live in Damaril.
Oh. And one more question, if I may. You mentioned a song that you are protecting. Is that something we should know about as we head into this region?
The song that we protect is that of the Earth Mother, Brian Terra, the mountain upon whose flesh we now sit. It is our duty to ensure that her song continues. For should these mountains go silent, it means that there is great danger, great evil at play. This mountain kind of rests his hands against the floor. My people say that this mountain was not always here, came to this world from another.
Really?
But legend says that it arrived here in exile of its home world. At least, that is what the singers tell me. Owena Single Eye. She is known as our Pathfinder. She has a close relationship with Briantera. I feel she would be more suited to answering your questions. Should you have any?
I thank you, and I think it is only fair to tell you that I have entered the dream of the mountain.
He was in the middle of about to take a sip and then kind of pauses. The dream of the mountain.
Yes, she's dreaming. And she is afraid. She showed me a time when the world was a symphony. Imagine much like your songs. And then she showed what I believe to be the herald of... Oh shoot. What herald was it? Fuck.
Nazgar.
Thank you, Nazgar. The herald of Nazgar attacked. And it just seems that she fears that silence is approaching. And that there are hollow-eyed beasts that harry her.
This is troubling news. He looks to the two of you, his eyes grave and penetrating, the stare of an emperor. I am old. If the silence has come to these lands, we will need all the strength we can muster. It is of grave importance that you find Ramir and let him know to come home. The Asturians will need their heir if we are to face or to protect the song of the mountain.
What is the silence?
I am not sure, but my people protect against it nonetheless. Owena Single Eye is the one who the mountain speaks to. She hears the words of its song, and she tells us the mountain feels. I will put word for what remain of my people. Vigilant. I suggest you do the same.
I thank you. I will tell people.
Very well. Come. Your glasses don't look nearly half as empty as I had expected them to, as his is just about drained.
Mm.
Would you
Don't
like
drink with
another?
him.
Kind of passes. You guys kind of pass the time there in his company, for a bit. After a few drinks, right? He doesn't really have much else to offer you in terms of information, but your company is certainly welcome and pleasant. A nice change for him. But after a while, you guys, head out the tent. He does extend to you though. The hospitality of the Empire is yours should you desire it.
Thank
You may
you.
rest here before your journey.
Thank you kindly.
And yeah, I suppose they'll find a place to stay.
Yeah. Ikronin awaiting your guys' emergence from the tent, meets you, and he says, "If you're looking for rest, please," and guides you over to another yurt across just kind of across the way there. Um, as you guys are kind of moving towards this, you see that there is a little kind of carved out area, right, with these jagged spikes kind of pointing inwards, and you see there is a totem at the edge of a cliff. There are weapons strewn on the floor of this space, and you can see the remnants of bloodstains too. Um, and you just pass that little. It almost looks like a small arena, right? Actually, if I have you guys on the map, right?
Yeah.
Sure do.
Okay. It is. So you guys are kind of like leaving this big tent, right? And he's taking you towards this tent, and you're passing this strange, like
Okay, this bottom quadrant.
this bottom quadrant there.
Okay.
Yep. But leads you over to the tent, and as you enter, you can see there's currently no one inhabiting it at the moment. So you guys do have a bit of privacy should you choose to indulge in it, and the opportunity for a rest should you also take that if you'd like.
I can take the first watch.
All right. That's much appreciated. I'll take the remaining ones, and we can find this single eye in the morning.
Makes sense. Good to know to keep an eye out for the Emperor's Heir, the ship. We're heading that way anyway. It's good to know to, more than usual, make sure our water supply is good, and
Yeah. On that, they will use create or destroy water. Obviously, create to make 10 gallons of water to fill these 2 amphoras, and then refill water skins and any empty potion bottles that they have.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, of course, you measure it in pints, but you do everything else in gallons. So water skins hold 4 pints of liquids.
And the amphoras hold how much?
I'm going to say the amphoras we'll have to translate this into gallons, but the amphoras will hold 6 apiece, let's say.
Okay, then that's all they need.
Okay.
the amphoras.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 6 apiece, so 12 pints.
Perfect.
In each amphora. I will say the amphora does get a bit heavy at that point too, but
Makes sense.
you're not encumbered, right? So
How are you feeling with the information gained?
Worried for these people.
Understandable.
I'm worried the Sanctum Metallica is unwittingly moving against the mountain in order to protect their gods.
I agree. I think that there's an air of zeal and selfishness that is woefully affecting others.
And I don't know if it's selfishness. If the song is not something that is talked about, maybe the Sanctum doesn't know.
It's unintentional. They wish to bring their gold back, and unfortunately, it's, from what we've seen, is affecting people in a negative way. Both ones under Korme's worship and what seems like others. This group included. I share your concern, yeah. Oh, please.
I'm just puzzling over a solution.
Trying to do the same. We have information, we have a bit of time to think on it while we travel and see what we learn in Dameril itself.
So, Cress, you're taking your trance.
Yeah.
Finn, you are on watch.
Correct.
Right. Finn, go ahead, roll perception.
That was a journey. 15.
You stand at a vigilant watch with a 15 card. Okay. Cress,
Yeah.
I'm going to hop over to you for just a moment here.
Yeah.
You kneel down, into your posture, your trance posture. Cuthbert, again, doesn't go in the tent, but there's, before you guys kind of go in, finally, Cuthbert kind of like nudges you, right? Assuringly, and then jumps off the side of the mountainside and kind of takes the wing. It's going to go maybe hunt, perhaps, maybe sleep somewhere. But Cuthbert's done this before, he kind of goes away for a little bit where you kind of, rest and stuff like that. So,
Yeah. I think there is the anxiety of things being different since the last time he's done that. But they don't stop him.
so Cuthbert departs then. Again, kind of a little reassuring nudge for taking to wing. You begin your trance. Cress, I know we talked about you had a specific target in mind.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm all for it, but I will tell you what you're attempting, or what you're about to attempt, is difficult.
That makes sense.
So, and given the nature of the target here, I feel it is also appropriate to cue first possible divine madness.
That makes sense.
Roll a d20.
Okay.
You would need
3.
Okay. You're fine. Your trance begins.
Okay.
Right? Your trance begins, and it's strange because this has happened maybe only once before, right? But it takes a little bit as you were kind of like focusing on this individual, as you're kind of like trying to form that image in your mind that you can use to project into their dreams. You find yourself momentarily lost. You find yourself wandering through the dream. And then you find yourself now stumbling into something else, almost like a change in the air, almost like going from walking again out into like a brisk cold room, right, from a warm one. There's just that sudden like temperature shift that you just kind of become aware that something is different, right? And you find yourself now, perhaps it's a dream, perhaps it's something else, perhaps you find yourself now as a spectator almost in this strange space. You stand within a forested valley as heavy clouds descend upon it. You see the trees are in fact ironwoods, and as the clouds come closer, you feel it against your hand, and as you kind of run your hand over, feeling what looks like snowflakes, you realize no. Ash. They kind of coat gray and rust all around you. Everything is utterly silent. The sounds of the forest are not there. As you look out, you see a tiny speck of yellow dancing just ahead of you. As you get closer to it, you see it is a small yellow bird fluttering in a dizzying fashion, a canary. And there's a song, a sad song that it sings, as it is now flying through, twisting between the trees, ducking under branches, and eventually it kind of flaps its wings to carry it up through the canopy into a cloud of ash. And now you are following this image, following this canary in this sort of strange, non-physical body, and observing its flight as it kind of... And eventually the clouds, the ash parts, and you see you are kind of climbing still, going straight up past a stone, rock, and earthen wall until eventually you kind of crest over the top of a cliff. And suddenly, that kind of coolness immediately changes. You suddenly feel heat as you come into this space. Everything is alight with fire. Orange and reds kind of causing these kind of cryptic shadows to kind of wander all over the floor. And as you look around, you realize that you are in a town set ablaze. You step forward and again, following the fluttering little canary, you start to smell blood in the wind around you. You see a memorial, a stone memorial. Familiar. You see behind you an ironwood lift, smoldering and crumbling as it crashes down behind it. And at the foot of this memorial, sprawled on the stones steps, is Elda Earthbreaker, the sage. A dagger plunged into her chest. You see the hilt of it, gold and black, reflecting the flames as smoke kind of wisps off the hilt. And as this realization hits you, shadows pass overhead, and you hear this droning. You look up, and you see the bottom of black-hulled airships. Suddenly, the ground around you shudders. It trembles. Tree, the ironwood ingot, the original ironwood around which this town was built, suddenly catches aflame in a blaze of white. The ground continues to shudder until fissures suddenly form in the earthen column within which Elda once did dwell with the dwarven girl, the rabbit folks, and all the other refugees. The fissures rapidly form and then suddenly erupt, right? And in its place, emerging from this ruin, is a large, hulking red dragon, wreathed in white flame as it looks down upon the canary, who suddenly changes. And in its place, you see Cuthbert. The dragon rears its head back, it snarls and roars. As Cuthbert kind of stands defiantly and roars right back. The two of them lock eyes across the battlefield and both surge towards. There is a massive, massive size difference as this beast is a gargantuan compared to your Drake. As the two are about to collide, there is a light of blue lightning, white flame that collides in a flash, and you awaken out of your trance. This vision, the memory of it, still there. And it's just been a couple of hours since Cress sat down. But you see, after a while, Cress emerge from the trance.
You all right?
I can't. I can't take Cuthbert back to the Ironwood.
Why? What happened? Just sort of scoots closer.
Because he'll die.
Sorry.
It's like every time I find a home, I curse it.
Why do you think you're cursing it?
What do you know about sea elves?
Not much.
I came from the deep sea trenches of the Eastern Sea. Do not look like I should be from there because part of me shouldn't. It's a sob story. I don't want to get into it, but I was not someone my society wanted for a long time, and then our prince, Anatole, he saved me. Someone tried to kill me, and he saved me. And he made sure I was welcome there. And when I wanted to bring my husband into our society, Anatole vouched for me. He made sure it happened. It was the night of the New Year, and everything went wrong. The scum attacked, and my husband... Something happened to him. He killed our king. Killed Anatole's father. And he was promptly killed. Maybe if we had still had our king, the Sandsea wouldn't exist. Maybe we could have stopped it. And now if I bring Cuthbert to the Ironwood, it will be destroyed. I think it might be Anatole who does it. I can't go anywhere. I can't. I just need to find someplace alone and go there.
The monarch is not your curse.
I brought a man to the Sea Elves and he killed our king. That wasn't the monarch. That was me being selfish and wanting them to accept me. It's my fault.
Wanting to be accepted in your home is not being selfish.
It is, if people die.
You didn't know. Obviously. But something like that was going to happen. And I don't think that there are any words I can say that ease the pain of the discoveries you're making. What I've seen, what you do, people like Coco, Riddick, fuck, myself, I've seen good things. I'm not going to change your mind, I know that. I think this world is a far brighter one with you in it. And with you helping. What you said is deeply painful. And I don't understand what you're going through, and I don't think I ever will. but that doesn't mean I'm unable and unwilling to offer insights, help, and my time.
I cannot accept those things. I've made a promise to get Granny Mal back. And I will do my best anyway. But I will not carry the curse of myself into places where people can get hurt. And that includes you. I will do this with you because I've promised to. But I saw Granny, Sage, Elda, dead. I saw the Ironwood destroyed. I saw Darkhold airships and a red dragon responsible for it. I will lead them elsewhere. Somewhere where no one can get hurt. There's this grim determination on their face.
Once Granny Mal is in the Ironwood, I didn't intend on staying. And I don't intend to leave you to tackle this sort of darkness alone. I don't. If you truly do not want me to accompany you, I will not. But my intent is to move forward and be of any assistance possibly can be.
Finn Reese. You keep telling me that you want to be of assistance and you want to help. How can you do that if you're fucking dead?
I'm not dead yet. Did you see me die?
No.
Then I'd like to go with you. Fuck, let's be honest, even if you did see me, I would be fighting to go with you anyway. I don't plan to wander the Ironwood and help the Rangers the entirety of my life. The world is bigger than that. The things at play that affect the people of this world are far bigger than that. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than all of us. I will not stand at the wayside while you head off into darkness alone. I am not that kind of man, nor will I ever be. So frankly, I'm not there for some martyr wanting to help. I want to. It is something I am choosing to pursue. If we get back to the Ironwood and drop Granny Mal off, and you truly decide you do not want me at your side, I will respect your wishes. But know that I'm not staying in the Ironwood. And I'm pursuing the same dangers, and I think that we're far better off in this dangerous world together than we are separate. I respect and feel terribly for what you're feeling. But I will not let you die alone.
It's a few moments later. Coming up to the end of that first watch. As you guys kind of continue your conversation. Eventually, you guys will change hands on watch, I assume. Cress. Go ahead and roll perception. Finn. As you set down to sleep. The nightmares.
What was that?
The nightmares stalk you. Go ahead and roll. Save for us.
3.
This night, they're bad. Maybe it's the events of what transpired at Sanctum Metallica. Maybe it's all of it. Just kind of hitting once. But you still get your long rest and you're not exhausted or anything, but it is a fitful, hard sleep that does not come easy to you.
Okay.
Cress, what was your perception?
10.
You're distracted. It's a lot going on. It's a lot to take in. That vision leaving you rattled. Your watch goes by uneventful. But come morning now, as Finn rises, Finn, I imagine after a fitful night of nightmares like that, you seem rattled. You seem comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a sentiment shared by Cress as our two prepare for the next day, the day that you intend to leave to Damaro. It's not long, but eventually you see the sides of the tent kind of shudder as wind buffets them, and you hear kind of the heavy footfalls. You can imagine Cuthbert has returned this morning, kind of returning from wherever it was that found respite. The two of you emerge from your tent. The day is yours. There's some talk of seeing Owena Single Eye.
Mm-hmm.
It's not hard to find with the Cronin's escort. Owena Single Eye is as you're led into this again large yurt. This one has definitely like a scent of herbs, spices, different plants and potpourri kind of lingering in the air, incense being burned as you see a druidic minotaur, old. What little red remained is very sparse in the hair. The horns are colored. The ones ivory horns are kind of colored, kind of like a grimier kind of color. They show age, and you see the hair is sported on the face in such a fashion that one eye is kind of blocked, kind of goes down across the front, while the other eye is kind of the hair is kind of tucked back behind the horn so that you can see. And as you enter, um, the Minotaur female kneeling on the ground, kind of like crisscross applesauce as well, with a small table and tray of different, herbs and incense before them, a set of knuckle bones as well. As you step in, the eye kind of regards you both. Goes, I see the golden hope bringer has graced my tent. Come, both of you sit.
There's this deep shame at being referred to in any way. Yeah, just shamefacedly, they do as she asks.
The eye kind of lingers over you and goes, you seem troubled. Perhaps I can offer some guidance. You both seem in need of it.
Yes.
I've heard your journey taking you north to Damaril. Riovera's servants talk much about the visitors to our small empire.
I hear that you had or have a close relationship with an alchemist there.
To
Can
the
you tell
Tortle.
us?
The Tortle Gron. A bit older than me yet, but he was an alchemist of some repute. He would often come into the highlands and seek me out for herbs and other chemicals, other strange reagents he might require. I hope he still lives. He was a gentle soul. I cannot, if you were hoping for me to tell you what you might find when you arrive in the town of Damaril. Afraid I have little to offer. I can only tell you what the town was back when I knew it. But since the world has ended, I cannot promise what you might be finding. You still intend to go, given this information?
Yep.
Looks at you, seeing kind of the expression on your face, that grim determination. I see your task weighs heavily upon you. This world. I'm sorry?
No. Not the task.
What? You are sea elf. Your home.
I'm
I know
sorry,
that.
David.
I know that pain of losing one's home. My people, we had to leave ours behind. We had to watch it dry, die before us, as we were just able to make it across the flatlands, where the winds threatened to turn us into husks. We came to this place and we hoped that perhaps it would finally be refuge. But alas, we are plagued by rust monsters, and now the mountain sings to me of an encroaching silence developing. Fears. And surely I sit at night and I think to myself, this must be the end. This is... What's the point? Aren't we all... If we're all not going to make it, if we all can't return to the life that we once had. But then a voice came to me. A voice in the form of a song. The song of Briantera, the song of the mountain. And she sang of a golden rose that banished the darkness. A rose wielded by a sea elf. See now that it is not your hope that you share, but a hope that you carry with you. I sense you do not believe in it.
I think the world can be remade. I herald disaster, so I will not be a part of it. But I do have things to tell you. And they will relay the dream of Briantera, ending with, and there were these hollow animals, these strange creatures, and behind the hollowness of their eyes, I saw yellow eyes, which I have since seen in the Hobgoblin Wrath up at the Sanctum Metallica. He doesn't seem to be a bad person, but if Briantera fears it, it only feels right to let you know.
Hobgoblin, you say?
Yes,
In the time since Briantera has come to this world, there has only been one great silence. And that was shortly after she came here, with her children on her back and in her belly. The goblins are the original denizens of the mountain. You see, this mountain comes from the Fae. It is why the iron here can be wielded by even druids. Why the iron here does not hurt fair folk. Goblins came with Briantera, exiled from the Fae. And then from here they expanded. And in the time during their expansion, when the valleys of the Briantera range were filled with ash, that was when the song was silent. The fire giants came to this place, champions of the pantheon of Oros, and tried to fight back, tried to liberate the mountain. But they brought much the same. They did not heed the song. They did not even try to listen to the song of the mountain. And so she remained silent still. It wasn't until the Circle of the Iron Hearth, led by Elda Earthbreaker, now the Sage of the Ironwood, that the mountain was tamed and the song could be sung. For that, my people are eternally grateful to the Ironwood. And it is for that reason we sought shelter here in the Sanctum Metallica. But now you tell me that the silence approaches again, and that it could be goblins once again. It is cause for concern.
You think it could be the goblins? I'm telling you that it is a cleric of the Sanctum Metallica, in whose eyes I saw that. Not a member of the conquering host, but a worshipper of the pantheon of Oros.
Many goblins could have yellow eyes, but perhaps. We will remain vigilant nonetheless. It seems our enemies close in from all around us. It is hard to know who to trust. But you, the Golden Hope Bringer, you have gained the trust of Briantera, and in you, I am willing to place my hope.
Don't do that.
See, burden for you to carry.
Owena, I dreamed last night of Sage Elda's death, your mountain savior. The Ironwood was destroyed. Airships dominated the skies. And a red dragon sought to destroy the real source of that hope, I believe. I am a harbinger of doom. I am not the hope you are looking for. It's Cuthbert. They'll kind of gesture outside the tent where I imagine a great golden paw sits.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just kind of like a little tail that kind of flicks in and out of the tent every now and then. And then definitely the silhouette against, like, a bonfire, playing against the fabric of the tent. I must think about these relations. People. We are meant to protect Briantera. What we believe. If you say the yellow-eyed ones, the yellow-eyed hobgoblin is a danger, then we will be on guard for it.
We're unsure if Wrath is the danger himself, or something pertaining to what the Sanctum Metallica is entrenched in. He kind of looks for Cress to see if he's explaining this correctly. We don't believe the man himself is the evil you're looking for. But the Sanctum Metallica should be kept under watch. Kept in your mind.
Very well. I know Rio Vera, the Emperor Rio Vera, had been contemplating perhaps transplanting our people within the walls of the sanctum. But given your information, I will caution him against it.
I would recommend against that. At least for the time being.
Very well. These are dark times indeed.
Can you tell us what the town of Damaril looked like before the last wave? Some information is better than none.
Certainly. The town of Damaril was once a seaside shanty town. It, long time ago, even functioned as a trading port for offense pirates, even those of our tribe who were looking to make ends meet. They would be able to deliver their spoils to the town of Damaril. Eventually, the town became the breadbasket of the empire, producing myriads of crops and food that would be transported to Azafast by ship. It is at its heart, a fishing town, inhabited mostly by the Kuatoa, fish-like humanoids. They were once a very peaceful group, but just before our empire was forced to leave our lands, we did notice that there were changes amongst them. At least the ones that we had found seemed to be suffering from some form of madness. The town is simple in its appearance. It is built onto the sides of the cliff. There were stone staircases and rails and walkways built along the edge and the contours of the cliff, while towards the bottom were large wooden docks, fingers upon fingers where ships might come to rest. Then some 12 miles away, the Tower of Eliza, the Beacon of Eliza, a large lighthouse that also served as the temple for the deity. Many in Damaril were worshippers of Eliza, including their mayor. He himself was a cleric, Prana Trufan. It's from a long line of, well, pirates. Now, his family has served as the leaders and barons of the region of Damaril for generations. Is there any more I can offer you? Struggle to think what else might be of use to you, but if you have anything in particular.
That is helpful.
Town lies on the northeastern edge of the peninsula, while the lighthouse lies at the northern tip. It should be of use to you as well.
Have you been to the lighthouse?
I have. Once. Its construction is strange. It's from a time long ago. Those that live in Damaril do not remember its creators, but they have taken over it, its care and its use. But it's clear that its construction was not of their making. The doors are far larger than any that I can remember, and at the center of the tower, it's hollow. It's not simply multiple floors, but rather a long, hollow spire. Before the Sandsea age, worshippers would come. The spire would be filled with seawater up until the floor. Worshippers would stand and offer prayers and offerings and gifts to Eliza for safe passages through her oceans. As you approach the town, you should, if the lighthouse still is lit, and at least in my memory, I do not recall a night that it was not, you should find the town easily enough.
I regret to inform you that I believe entities tied to the monarch will be found there.
Certainly dark tidings. And what is it that you seek in Damaril, then? What would bring you to such a place?
A companion of Sage Elda has been captured, and last I saw she was there.
Mission to rescue another. It's noble. Dangerous. Here. Perhaps this might assist you. Hopefully. offers you reaches to the table, pulls over a flask, kind of wipes some dust off the front of the flask, and you can see that there's something kind of inside it bobbing around. And you see suspended in a viscous yellow fluid is an eyeball, and stoppered on top with a cork, passes it to you, says, "It seems gruesome, but once you unstopper it, the eyeball will disappear. This is a potion that can perhaps offer you a little bit of information before you enter any specific area. It should hopefully serve you well."
Thank you.
Go ahead and add a potion of clairvoyance to your inventory.
Ooh.
That's very cool.
We love that shit.
I love that shit.
Hey, don't worry. The eyeball will disappear. It's really safe to drink.
Yeah, it's in the description on the D&D Beyond item. So
I love it. I knew exactly what it was as soon as you said it, and I was like, that rips. Also, I've never actually thought about the eyeball until now.
I am now happy and concerned.
Now grossed out and delighted. Yeah.
Help, yay!
Okay. Thank you very much.
It's the least I can offer. I hope that perhaps should we meet each other again, I can be of greater service to you. Times being what they are, we are certainly not well equipped, but our people are strong, and with enough time, we will rebuild. My main concern is Rio Vera stays true or continues. His heir has been missing, and it has weighed on him heavily.
We will seek him out.
I imagine he had implored you to do so.
You made it known.
Let me not postpone your journey any longer.
If I may, they'll look up to Finn. Would you mind if I had a moment alone with you, Owena?
Certainly not a problem.
Is that all right, Finn?
You don't have to ask me that, of course. I respect your time and your privacy. He bows to both of them and
Bows back.
takes a step out.
There's a jingling of like chains that are kind of connected.
A small grab and squeeze of Cress's forearm before he does. And he departs.
They look down. Just to where Finn had squeezed their arm. You're very wise. That much is apparent. What is... I believe that it is my responsibility to stay far away from anyone who I could hurt. Everywhere I go, everything dies. And I want them to survive. What do I do?
The burden is heavy on the back of your companion. As you have traveled far, much the tragedy that has befallen.
Just need a little bit of projection from you, David. Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah. It seems you've witnessed more tragedy than many of us as you've traveled.
I've caused it.
do struggle to believe that that is true. I believe that what you see is the tragedy beyond you, but in your desire and your connection to the world, you cannot help but feel and bear some of that responsibility. Offers a hand palm up for yours.
They take it.
And squeezes it and says, "The tragedy of this world is not your fault or even your responsibility. What you must do is find a way to accept that there are those around you who need you, who love you, who want to protect you, who you, in turn, will protect and love, want. Matter of finding your tribe still, your empire."
You don't seem to be hearing me. Everyone I love dies. Before me and for me.
I do not have an answer for you, Bringer. All I can say is that I hope on your journey you will find that answer. You will find what you need. The only advice I can give is the only thing any one of us can do now. That is to put one foot in front of the other and to continue moving forward. Find joy in the moments that are joyful. And don't be afraid to feel the sadness when it is there. For these are all parts of life, and it is that life that makes everything worth it. It is these moments, these feelings, that the monarch cannot take away from you.
You. Thank you for the kind word.
Wish you a fair journey. And for what it's worth, the mountain in this place, this realm, thanks you and your companions for everything that you have done, whether you see it or not. You have changed this place for the better, I believe.
Thank you.
Cress emerges from the tent. Cuthbert and Finn, awaiting your arrival.
He just looks at them and offers a smile.
I smile back.
Could I give you a hug?
Yes. Yes, thank you.
He just slowly wraps them up and just holds them close, offering them the same refuge that they did not a day ago.
Cuthbert comes in on the other side too.
Yeah! He's like,
And in that synchronicity, they too weep.
Hmm.
Well, let's go do what we can.
the hug kind of separates. Both of his hands touch the sides of their face, kind of rubbing their cheek, moving tears as they fall. For what it's worth, I'm very happy to be here with you and to be helping in the ways that only I can help, which is apologizing too much and being of service.
I know I have a piss poor way of showing it, but I am grateful.
I feel your gratefulness. I do.
Thank you, Fenris.
Thank you. I said estuary.
The two of you.
Oh my god! Are you good?
I'm good.
It
Got
was
caught
just
in my throat. I was feeling it,
just-
guys. Damn.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was just a. Holy fuck!
So, the two of you mount Cuthbert and take off. Your journey takes you north, right? Cress, can I get a survival check? Just, keep track of the things.
Can I assist by just pointing out the path that I imagine we have laid over the last couple days?
Sure, absolutely.
Roll with advantage.
26.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking
It
about,
is
baby.
in no time. You are gliding over. You are headed north on like an arrow, right? With Finn's assistance, kind of helping to point out some of the previously explored regions. You are able to kind of get your heading and guide Cuthbert en route, truly, towards Dameril. Your journey continues over the forests of the Ironwood as you pass past one more mountain, Orizar's Peak. And eventually, throughout your journey, you're carried on the wind. Cress, both of you, with your ties now to this place, as you are moving through, you're hearing the birds, you are hearing the sounds of creatures moving through the brush beneath you. You're hearing the wind as it kind of howls and whistles through the trees, and you are both aware of the song of the mountain. It sings to you as your party kind of travels. Eventually, though, you pass out of twilight, and you come to not darkness, but the world before you, painted in a soft red glow. Where the sun doesn't reach, the monarch's light seems to dominate. As you pass over the mountain towards flat lands ahead, the song of the forest fades. The ground beneath you now is dry and cracked. There are no trees or bushes. There are no hills. The air is suddenly very dry, and you've now traded the taste of iron for the taste of salt. The chill sets in deeper, not a hazard to either one of you, but it certainly starts to be more pronounced. There, up above you, are pinpricks of stars. You see faintly, far behind the monarch, the soft white light of Lunazra, the moon. Your journey carries you over these flat plains, these cracked plains. until eventually you come towards a forest on a hill. It's one lone little mountain, one lone series of mountains. Here you are able to land, right? I'm going to kind of just, because we're going to get into a little bit of a traveling montage here.
Mhm.
Here you are able to land. And as you do so, first thing you become aware of is exactly how thirsty you all are. So you guys definitely need water. That includes the two of you and Cuthbert.
Mhm.
Okay. Given the environment, you each, your water requirements are tripled. So
What are they normally?
normally you would only need 2 gallons of water per day,
Okay.
right? Per the rules. Now you need 6 gallons of water per day.
That's perfect.
Cuthbert being a large creature though, also needs water.
Mhm.
He needs 3 times as much, just like you guys, to up to 12 gallons.
Yeah.
Up to 12. Okay, so they have enough water for them, and then they will create water again for Cuthbert. Because it's 10 gallons, so 10 gallons for him.
Yeah.
And then we have 10, which we don't need all of, so 2 more.
2 more.
The math
Perfect.
works.
The math
The
works
math-
out. Yeah, I know.
Hey,
I
the math
don't. I don't
works.
question it. Yeah, because I know the spell gives 10 gallons. It's like, yeah, you guys are well within range,
Yep.
right?
Cool.
Especially again with the previous water that you'd stocked up already. So go ahead. I do need Constitution saving throws, right? But given your water supply, they are not at disadvantage or anything, right? Button, if you want to go ahead and roll for Cuthbert as well, please.
Oh god. Sorry,
It's
it
gone,
almost
it's
fell off
gone.
my desk. It's
It's
gone.
gone. I'm scared. I'm scared.
I don't
I got
have
a
Cuthbert-
natural
yeah.
1 for a 5. Or for a
Okay.
6.
For 6, okay.
Mhm.
1 second. Cress is 14 plus 3, 17. And then I don't have Cuthbert sheet because I'm bad.
No, it's okay.
It's
I should
10 plus
always.
stuff.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
The DC on this one, the first level here, is 10.
Oh,
So
perfect.
amongst
Cool.
you, the only one failing is Finn.
Oh no.
So Finn, you do have 1 level of exhaustion,
No.
as
Okay.
your
Add active
despite how much you
conditions.
drink, right? Your mouth just always feels dry. Your skin, even you guys can feel your skin feels like it's coated in a thin layer of dust, right? And everything here, it looks like, honestly, Finn, this is a little nostalgic, kind of landing in this forest. It looks like it would be a forest in snow, except it's not. Salt is just heavily caked on everything.
I think with that realization that it's something that seems like it could be familiar, and honestly just the vigilance of like Finn making sure that both Cuthbert and Cress have the water that they need, I think he sort of lets himself fall to the wayside a little bit.
There's enough for everyone.
I'm just saying flavor-wise.
Okay.
Yep. So, that does bring you guys to the end of this first day of travel into this space, right? I will say too, and this is true for all of you, but this is especially true to Cress, right? Cress, this place is desolate. You hear only the sound of wind and the crunching of your own footsteps on salt. You do not feel the presence of anything living. It's different than the corruption you felt in the Ironwood, right? When you feel those corruptions, it's twisted, it's dark, it's evil, right?
This is just dead.
This is just dead. This whole place just feels so. We will go. So, you guys have the night here, right? Or what constitutes as the night? It doesn't quite change. That red glow remains throughout both your watches. Cress, you do, as you go into your trance, you are approached, actually, by
Great.
Varen.
Oh, okay.
Varen,
Sorry, I assumed it was someone
No.
else.
So as you kind of like enter into your trance, assuming, Finn on watch there, Varen comes to you and goes, Cress, I have something for you.
What do you mean?
Well, you had asked about your father, and I felt bad that I couldn't give you more.
Varen, you don't owe me anything.
But don't worry, don't worry. I found something. I think you'd want to see it. I have memories from every Kalishtar that has ever agreed to be with me. I'll show you, Mother, if you want.
I would like to see.
Varen flutters towards you. Kind of, as Varen approaches, shrinks down into a smaller dragonfly, rests in the palm of your hand, and then you are transported. As they alight upon your skin, you are transported from the undersea scape that is your dream. And you see now instead a vision. You see an incredibly handsome young Kalishtar, with whose eyes softly glowing with teal light. You see the bottom corners of which are highlighted by a glittery kind of bronze tattoos. He sits in the crow's nest of the main mast on a large 5-masted galleon. And you see him bare-chested, basking in the sun, eyes turned up towards the sun, just feeling the warmth of it on his face. And through this memory, through Varen, you too can feel the warmth. You can feel and smell the ocean again. And you see across his chest as a school of colored betta fish kind of swirl up and down the torso. And you see him be disturbed from his reverie by a small gnomish hand belonging to a young gnome with kind of dirty blondish hair, right? And Cress, you realize you are staring into the face. He is staring into the face of a young Brocknackle, who just kind of jostles him and goes, "Hey, Kirika, look alive, my friend. They're coming aboard now." Glances down, and you see a group of sea elves, an entourage of sea elves, climbing very smoothly onto the deck of a ship. You see the ship right now, sails are furled, the hull is laid in such a way that they're just kind of like softly lapping up against the side of the ship, so it's not moving or anything, it's not in motion. You see, as he watches them, his eyes, Kalishtar, his eyes arrest on one in particular, a petite, almonastically pale, female-presenting sea elf, being greeted by a silver-haired female high elf with a sword at her hip.
No way.
After a formal greeting of bows
What?
and soft touches are exchanged, for whatever reason, the sea elf, their eyes are drawn up the masts, and these deep ocean blue eyes lock with the Kalishtar's. Gust of wind and a long spray of straight white hair with pigments of vibrant yellow at the edges splays wildly in the gust. And Kirika, Kalishtar, is just entranced. His heart skips a beat, and you just feel this warmth. And that is the last of it. As you are brought back, the memory fades. Varen says, "You can always keep powerful emotions, and this memory is tied to a very powerful emotion. I was able to find it with a little bit of looking. I could possibly find more for you, but only if you want me to.
They are overcome as they see both of their parents for the first time, having only ever seen a sculpture of their mother, and never knowing Kirika. And there is this overwhelming jumble of emotions as they grapple with seeing them for the first time in a century. And I think they get caught up in the moment. I think even as Varen is speaking, they're diving back into the memory to see the two lock eyes, just replaying it over and over.
Upon replays, there's a couple of things that you start to notice, I think. Roll an investigation check for me. Advantage.
Fuck. Oh, that was a 1. Okay, that's better. That is, it's a 15 plus, it's a 17.
17. You noticed Brocknackle. Looks a lot like Pim, right? He definitely has similar features as being the sire of your gnomish companion. The elves, the high elves that greet the sea elf entourage, the female one in particular, something about the way she moves, and as you kind of examine the memory over and over, you realize
Like Luna?
it's like Luna. And you also notice Titus Orme is present in formal military wear, being greeted by a male high elf, and the two exchange very kind of curt, business-like glances at each other. And this individual, the male high elf, also bears some passing resemblance to Luna. You can deduce that is Luna's father.
Looking at the
I
man
don't know
who
if you-
raised them. I'm sorry?
I don't know if Luna ever gave you the names of her parents. Probably? I guess?
No.
No. Okay, so I won't give you the
Fuck
names.
no.
Okay, then yes, then yeah.
Looking at Titus, does he seem to clock their mother and Kirika? That is something they immediately want to know. They've always known the rumors that Titus killed her. They want to know if he saw this. And they want to know if their mother is already married to him.
Let's see.
They're looking for a ring.
Yeah, I was gonna say if sea elves bear any sort of like symbols of like bonding or something, then yes, they would have that. If it's a ring, yes, you see a ring on both hands, as Cassandra is currently married to Titus in his memory. You see Titus. Titus is very about the business at the moment. Titus seems to almost ignore. It almost looks like a practice ignorance towards Cassandra.
Color me shocked.
Right? As after boarding, a very almost like passing, almost dismissive glance towards Luna's mother, and immediately business and cuts to the chase, it seems. You can't quite make out the words. The words of this were not part of Kirika's or Varen's memory. But you do see the two immediately kind of become very engaged with one another.
They finally come out of the memory. I've done a lot of crying over the past couple days. Just tears streaming down their face. Thank you, Varen.
Varen kind of holds and nuzzles into you, Cress. And you can feel the wings kind of like slowly fluttering and kind of folding over your arms as it's a strange form of embrace. And Varen kind of whispers to you as much as you can in a dream. I was I miss Kirika dearly. But there is a lot of him in you. And I'm glad we found each other.
So he didn't make it.
Fortunately, Kirika couldn't live quite as long as you can. Quite some time. But I remember, I don't have the vision of the memory now, but I remember he passed with
He passed what?
pride.
That makes sense. Kieran. Where am I? Who am I? Baron. Anything of his that you can find. I desperately want it.
See what I can find. I have memories I miss too.
And they embrace him back.
Cress, you're not sure when it is, as your trance comes to an end. You're not even sure like when it is. But when you do, you still feel, even in your wakefulness, the lingering feeling of Varen against you. I'm going to update your character sheet later, but you now have the mind link per the Kalishtar race.
Oh shit!
Yes!
What?
Give it!
So
Oh my god!
after the session, I will go ahead and update your character sheet to
Oh.
put that in for you.
Fuck yes.
Jesus. That's very generous and lovely. Oh man. Oh.
Oh, fuck.
I'm not crying.
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
are.
crying.
Me too.
That's so fucking rad.
Oh.
So my friends, tell you what, we've been playing for quite a while, so I'm going to kind of just get you to this ending point where we will be picking up in January.
January.
Cress, you awaken from your trance. There is little activity on either watch. I do need one more round of checks. Again, Cress supplying enough water, right? So straight rolls.
Not for
We're
20.
rowing this thing.
Hell
Uh,
yeah.
With your 20, you're fine, and also your rest
I was gonna say
canceled
that's
your previous
gone.
exhaustion.
Yeah, cool.
Yep.
I rolled 2 11s minus +3. I still have an open cupboard sheet because I got distracted.
Well, the DC was what, 10? Is that correct?
DC is 10.
Oh, then it's good.
You're good.
I know he is a higher. He doesn't have a negative con.
Yeah. That's good. You said 11, so what? And you're good too, right?
Yeah,
Everybody's
mine's
above 10?
+3.
I
Yeah.
Okay,
I think everybody's
sorry.
good here.
Everybody's good. So yeah, you guys are able to kind of continue your journey. Cuthbert gliding over the brine dunes. As you're going through, there is actually like a couple of like interesting sights I do want to mention for you. One of which are these. You pass these kind of like odd giant spirals, kind of just out in like everything's kind of almost deserty. Except instead of sand or snow, it's salt. But there are a few spots where there are these giant ass spirals that kind of like dominate the landscape for a while, right? You see that there is kind of a strange kind of crest of salt, almost making like a little wall that kind of goes up along the outside of the spiral, giving it from above. It gives it almost the shape of like a twirly flower, as you kind of look from above. It's like it's a
cream?
spiral. Yeah, exactly. It's pretty much exactly like ice cream. Yeah, imagine like ice cream. Imagine a giant ice cream mounds, right? As you're passing through this space. You guys continue flying for a while yet. Before the end of the day, you are through the dunes. So you only had basically about 2 half days with the night in between. So the second half of the day, finish the dunes, and as you kind of are coming up now towards this next area, you see a giant cliff face, tall, blackened cliffs, and below it, you see these strange things, these strange forms that kind of litter the landscape beneath it. My friends, would you dip in to investigate closer? Question. They are unmoving, I should mention. With your perception, Chris,
Oh.
even your passive, they are unmoving. But you just see them kind of like, some of them caked in salt, some of them kind of, strewn over rocks, that kind of thing. I will allow you to roll perception check, and I would say if it's above a 16, you don't have to fly much closer.
Okay. It's gone. Keep doing
It's gone.
Oh, it is, because it's
Okay.
a 17 on the dice plus 7.
There you go. Yeah. What you are looking at as you guys are kind of making your way over, it looks like hundreds of dried, shriveled scum.
Ooh! Throw salt at They're like
just-
leeches!
They are just, the bodies are just kind of contorted and shriveled up at the base of the cliffs.
Oh. I want some salt. New goal acquired. I want some fucking
let's get some
salt. We're
salt.
going to the, yeah.
We're getting salty. We're getting salty. Let's go.
They spend the next 8 weeks collecting as much salt as humanly possible.
Well, would you guys continue to Damrel? Continue on to Damrel as you can?
Yeah.
Yes, there would be before the end of the brine dunes. I will say they would. What do I have to?
There is the
hold?
intention to grab salt, I think. Yeah.
Anyone
Sure.
grab salt?
You can grab some salt. Sure. I would say
yeah.
you can grab it in bags, cups, vials, whatever you got.
I
Cool.
will. Yeah.
I have 100 tankards. I
You do
fill
have
10
100
tankards with salt.
Okay, sure. You fill some of your tankards with salt. So I would say you gather. Let's see, how much does a tankard hold? Probably a
A
good bit.
pint?
Yeah, let's say you have 10 pints of salt.
Yay!
Let's give a nice round number to it.
I'm gonna kill
Put in my
some
note.
scum.
Cress has 10 pints of salt. Okay. Okay. And then, as your journey as now you're kind of over these cliffs, right? You see a couple of things. You see a large mountain range kind of shrouded in the horizon, right? Kind of riding your previously pretty great perception check there, Cress. These mountains are tall, spiky, and they're off in the distance, but it almost looks like they kind of lean and twist in strange directions. They seem abnormal, which also applies to a lot of the land beneath you. You're passing over now these kind of gnarled, again, kind of strangely malformed mangroves and swamplands. You find tall walkways, right? That you see these remnants of these tall walkways as they are kind of now overgrown and under the grips of these strange plants that are now growing in this area. And again, I cannot stress enough, it continues to be very chilly and cold. The deeper you go into this place, the further you go from the sun, and it gets colder and colder the further north you make it. Eventually, you start to see the remnants, the crumbled remains of buildings, pieces, roofs, entire roofs washed away hundreds of feet away from where the base of the building would be, right? Doors hanging off of hinges, just kind of creaking in the wind. And as you guys kind of continue to fly further in, you start to see the town itself. You see the remnants of the town, right? Just the strange skyline of it, right? The broken skyline of it, just at the edge of a cliff. As you get closer, and you peer down into the town. Bird kind of taking you up high so you can get a nice vantage point without revealing yourselves unnecessarily, right? You look down and you see a broken harbor. You see tens of broken shipwrecks kind of littering the landscape in different parts. The bow here, bow of one ship here, the stern somewhere else, rigging, kind of tangled mess over a bunch of debris. But cleared away at the center of this harbor, in a cleared out space, you see strange little fish people as they are about some sort of industry. And the target of that industry, Cress, it makes your blood go cold for just a moment, because you look down as they are currently in the process of repairing the outer shell. Similar craft that you had the unfortunate time of being. You see the tentacles of the ship that had abducted you splayed out as the creatures work to repair it. And with that, we are going to pick up again in January.
Oh boy. Thank you for giving me something to warpath at.
Yeah, warpath.
It's
Oh,
down. It is under
David, that was
repair. Now's your chance.
phenomenal, my dude.
Oh,
Thank you so
guys.
much for running an
Thank
incredible
you.
session, David.
Yes.
You too. You guys are just amazing.
Yeah, holy shit, David, if you want to tell people some things you do and where to find you and stuff,
Oh
like
gosh. Let's see. My dog is here happily dancing, hearing. She can always tell when the session's pretty much over, right? My name is David. I go by ZenOkami various places on the internet. Places you can find me. Hopefully before we come back in January, there will be like Instagram, socials, that kind of stuff that you can follow me on for, anything Heroes of Histaeria related, including maps, maybe items, maybe stat blocks, that kind of stuff that I spend a lot of time homebrewing. If you don't find me here, you can also check me out over at the Delta Cryptid YouTube channel, where we play Heroes of Histaeria Sandsea Saga. And if you want to see more of Cress, check out those earlier episodes. Cress did come to this campaign from that campaign. And yeah, that's me.
Thank you, David. And round of applause for David for being a DM who stands self-care.
Come on.
Love that for you.
There we go.
Button.
Gotta try.
Hello, my name is Button. My pronouns are they, them. I am Bluebluebutton on social media, and you can find me here in... I'm so tired. Unearthed Inheritance and Known Realms to Lesh, both on Sundays. They're my favoritist. It's a joy to be a part of these campaigns.
Thank you for being here. Hi, everybody. My name is Alec. My pronouns are he, him. You can find me all places on the internet at CommuneDM. I have been playing Finn Reese this morning for Heroes of Histaeria Unearthed Inheritance, and I am also the Archivist of Known Realms to Lesh. We will be back with Session 6 of Known Realms on December the... fucking what day is it? 4th, I think? Yeah, let me double... Yeah, Sunday the 4th, so in 2 weeks from today, we're taking a little break for ourselves as well, holidays and all that jazz, but we will be back fresh in December with some very fun stuff that's cooking up. Socials are the best way to stay in contact with us and see what we're doing and when indeed we are doing it. And over this little bit of a break from both campaigns, go ahead and check out the YouTube. It is going to be the best place to catch up on sessions you may have missed and to watch some of your favorite moments if you're not directly on Twitch. We do have merch, which I think the command was posted earlier, but I'm going to post it again. And we have an open community Discord if you do want to come hang out, talk these campaigns, meet some stellar nerds, and just have some fun. But until next time, which is the 4th of December, we will see you all in our next adventure. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hold on for a raid. We're going to raid somebody. Hold on. Bye.